that you control. And the number to get in on the conversation with us tonight, the number is 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. Just so you guys know, at least for the first segment of the show, we're not going to have our faces on the stream, but I just decided to stream anyway because you can at least see the title and like hear our voices if somebody wants to listen that way.
Oh, so they'll be blind today?
Yeah, you guys can just be blind on the streams today. But it is a radio show, so
just a Riley point of view.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
it says Riley POV at the bottom. No, I'm just kidding.
You should have. That would have been a great.
Yeah, maybe, but I think I might be able to get it fixed at the next break. But basically, our power went out and came back on. And last time that happened, it was much worse. But Penguin got in here and fixed a whole lot of stuff. I almost said dead name. It's not exactly dead naming him, but dox him every single time I talk about him. It's because when there's so many Chris's in our community that when me and Ian talk about him, we have to be like, Chris Wade or Chris Rubin? Okay, Chris Wade, and now continue our conversation. So annoying. But anyways, Penguin came in, fixed all that crap that went wrong last time we had a power outage, and it really fried a whole bunch of stuff in the studio. But apparently something with it's called a USP?
UPS?
UPS, there we go, yeah. Uninterruptible power supply. Apparently that one's bad too, because... Oh, I didn't consider that. I hope you guys don't hear jingles the whole time I'm wearing jingle bells. And it would have been really cute on the cameras, but maybe I'll be able to fix it.
I didn't hear it in my headphones, so it wasn't too loud.
I just realized when I got angry, I heard them. But anyways, so with you on Free Talk Live tonight, the number is 603-283-6160. But with you on the show tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
Free it, we'll talk it live. This is Riley O'Bill.
And Angelo.
And we have multiple different things to talk about. I don't even think I need a article about it, but I've been really keen on updating everyone on the state of the war in Venezuela because, the president called it a war.
He did.
He said, I think you're going to see that this is war, trying to make it sound a little less like he was just straight up declaring war, but that's not a normal thing for a president to say about another country. And, Riley, as you alluded to before the show, I don't know if you brought in like a article about it.
I didn't bring any articles in, but I alluded to the fact that this is all about the oil because Trump has been confiscating and sanctioning oil tankers from Venezuela. And ladies and gentlemen, this has always been about oil. It's not been about drugs. It's always been about oil.
What? How much was $60 million worth of oil was seized off in that Venezuelan tanker?
I have no idea.
I think was it headed for Cuba? Something like that.
I have no idea, but it certainly is an insane amount. And how dare the U.S. government presume they have the right to take someone else's oil?
Well, they do the same thing with the crypto they seize too.
I know.
This isn't new, right?
And it's disgusting. The American people need to be woken up and say, hey, we got to stop this nonsense. But they're not going to. They want to fight over gender and crap like that.
Yep, and I think that it's about drugs and oil. I don't think that they want to save us from the drugs necessarily. They want to use it as, more of an excuse. I guess that necessarily means it's not about drugs, but they definitely want to use the drugs as an excuse not only to get oil, but to just kill more people down there, take power from them, go in there and political change things, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Well, and there's also, how dare you get drugs away from outside of the pharmaceutical complex, right? How dare you get a substance that isn't approved by the FDA, right?
It's awesome because everything at times, one thing went wrong and one thing went right, but we finally got something that was broken in the studio for a really long time. I was having to manually not manually screen in the worst of ways, meaning wait till a break and then answer. And but I was having to do all this stuff refresh a page to see who was calling. But now I don't have to because we got somebody to come in to fix it. And it was on Thursday. This is just a little side note before I answer the phone because we have a caller. But on Thursday, somebody came over, fixed the Comrex VIP system. That's what it's called, the thing that does our phones. And it had been broken for like 6 months, and it was a really silly, ridiculously silly fix, but I don't really want to get into that. But that same night, I had Chinese food, and I opened a Chinese food fortune cookie that said, even though this is retroactive, I don't care. I'm claiming it. It said, on Thursday, which it was, a prolonged problem will find its solution. Isn't that crazy,
That
Riley?
is pretty crazy. That's pretty synchronistic right there.
I loved that. I mean, that's the most successful fortune cookie I've ever had.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it seems like Dave Ridley didn't want to hear my story because he hung up. So if he calls back, we'll answer him. The number, 603-283-6160. And it's really interesting. It's like one thing gets fixed, another thing breaks. But that's what happens when the creator of this studio is in prison. So,
Yes.
And you can learn more about that at freeiannow.org. I honestly need to remember to bring that up a lot more. People are thinking it's possible that the president is going to do some pardons this December, which would be cool. So, freeiannow.org.
Hopefully Ian is on that list.
That would be awesome. One thing I wanted to talk about, it's a couple weeks old now. I think I might have even teased it, but I'm really interested in this story. It reminds me of stuff that happened in Keene in 2011. Ian and some of his friends, actually, I really don't know if Ian was part of the chalking. I don't know who started it, but there were some activists, some people that I don't even know their names because I was literally just starting high school in 2011, but I didn't live here. But in Keene, New Hampshire, where we live, where lots of activists have been active here for a long time, somebody was drawing peace signs and smiley faces, and some people were drawing even like really crazy art with chalk out in the downtown Keene quote-unquote commons area, because this is a tragedy of the commons story. And basically somebody who, I don't know his name, but they called him Boston Strong because he first showed up yelling at them with a shirt on that said Boston Strong.
Uh-huh.
Oh, from like the pressure cooker attacks?
Yes. Oh, I forgot that was a pressure cooker, actually. But yeah, probably related to that. And so Boston Strong came up and was so angry that these people would dare draw peace signs and smiley faces with chalk on like the public property. And he would come there, literally, he was like a plumber, and he would go to start his day for work, go downtown first with a giant mop and a bucket, and erase these people's like smiley faces and peace signs all angrily, and like he was doing some kind of serious public service, and then go to work. And there's a hilarious video on Free Keene, the Free Keene YouTube channel, where one of the activists is like drawing things and like he's going behind him cleaning them, so he's just like they're like having a war. It's almost like Fantasia.
That is pretty funny.
Oh, I've seen videos like that. I can't remember. These people were following some guy with chalk. I think he might have been drawing, might have been like a MAGA, just writing MAGA on the sidewalk with chalk, and these old women were following him, and they had like big gulps of like water.
Wow.
And they would like follow him down the sidewalk, and then they'd go into like a restaurant and try to get more water, and then they did this for like a couple of blocks.
Well, instead of I wouldn't say MAGA is violent, but a dumb symbol, these ones were symbols of peace. I think it's way
So my
better.
question, Bonnie, is how do we get going with some activism like that in Keene again?
Just grab some chalk and go out there. I've
Okay.
been doing it every time you had a 420 rally that I've showed up to. I bring my chalk and I just write things like freedom.
I do recall
your
you doing that. We
personal-
should do more activism like that.
And when I went to the pickle protest with you and Chris Wade, I brought chalk. And
Yep, and you wrote Free Staters have been here or something like that.
oh yeah, Free Staters were here. Yeah,
Yes.
that was fun. I need to do that one way more often. I forgot about that one. I was like, oh, this is great. I need to do this like way more often to make angry our enemies and to
Hey, I would love to do more inflammatory activism. Let's do
Well,
it.
and chalk is so good because it really can, like on pavement especially, it wipes away. It could rain and it's gone, no damage
you
to
can't be
any
claimed that it's
vandalism.
vandalism and also it makes people have to think about the fact that if they don't like it, well, how do you actually feel about public property? You know, if you're like angered by my writing things like government is violence on the ground, if you're angry about that and you think you have the right to go erase it, but I have exactly the same amount of right to write it, it makes you have to consider things, and it's just a typical tragedy of the commons situation. It's like, if we all own something, then neither of us own it. It's not possible for us to all own, every single person in Keene owns that. That's ridiculous, not possible.
I agree. It's entirely ridiculous. It just goes to show that if everyone owns it, no one's going to take care of it.
Yep. Oh my God, Sarah had a great story one time. I think it was before you started coming on the show, Angela, where she, I think, wanted to paint or maybe it was like a neighbor, but a woman, either her or a woman neighbor, wanted to paint a ugly, rundown fence, and so Sarah or that woman, I don't remember, painted it, but they painted it like a pink color, and a man across the street went out there and was angry at her because she painted it that color and didn't want to, I need to have auto attendant on. That's why Dave Ridley didn't. Okay, let's go to the phones. Turd in Pennsylvania, I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss your call because I realized I didn't have a button pressed, and that's why it hung up on Ridley. Turd in Pennsylvania, what's on your mind?
I love Dave Ridley. He was the reason why I first moved to New Hampshire. But you know who I love even more than Dave Ridley is Boston Strong Matthew Schmidt. He's a great man. And he's just trying to protect his community from Garrett Ian, who is being very annoying. God bless Matt Schmidt.
Like it was hurting his community to have peace signs.
It was. Those chalkings were obnoxious.
How were they obnoxious?
Because they're ugly. Garrett Ian is terrible.
That's a matter of opinion. Ugliness is a matter of opinion.
Some of them were really awesome, like mermaids and stuff that were like somebody else, when their friends came and did like very talented artwork. Some of them weren't even just the smiley faces and peace signs, which also, in my opinion, weren't ugly.
Matthew Schmidt, Boston Strong Schmidt left all the good art around. It was just Garrett Ian's annoying art, smiley faces that he claimed. I'm not gonna lie. If I was a resident of Keene, I would have been like, "Thank you for doing that." Garrett Ian is extremely annoying and obnoxious, and I hate that guy.
I don't even think you think his
man.
things were ugly or annoying. I think you just don't like him. I don't know him at all. I've like seen him, but I don't think I've ever even talked to him.
I don't like him either, but I do. I'm not gonna lie. Like, if I had to walk up and down Keene and just see Garrett Ian's smiley faces all day long, I'd be like, God,
Sounds like a positivity problem you have. Because if I saw a smiley face written, I'd be like, cute.
I don't have a problem with positivity. Look, I mean, if somebody came up and went up and down the street and did real artwork and drew pictures of like Ariel from The Little Mermaid, I'd be like, that's great. I'd be like, I love that. But that wasn't what we're talking about here. This is Garrett Ian being annoying. You know,
I personally would rather see the smiley faces than Disney things. Honestly, Disney is like slop.
You'd rather see smiley faces than sexy Ariel? I don't know about that. Well, maybe. Yeah, but I'm actually calling from work right now. I'm at the club, but it's dead. So I'm just letting basically the AI do all the work for me right now, and I'm just.
Are you in like a break room or something?
I'm in the DJ booth right now.
Wow.
Which is in the second floor, and I can kind of just see everybody. Yeah, it's pretty quiet up here. I don't know if you can hear any of the music down there, but
no, I don't hear anything. It's fine.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, actually, it's Luna on the stage right now. She's a good-looking girl.
But you said you had something else you wanted to talk about.
Did I? I can't even remember it. Garrett Ian's just so obnoxious. He just makes me forget stuff. But yeah, God bless Dave Ridley. By the way, dude. You want to talk about annoying activism like Garrett Ian's and really great activism like what Dave Ridley did? Dave Ridley was probably responsible for more people moving to New Hampshire for the Free State Project than anyone else. Certainly Garrett Ian, who inspired no one to move to New Hampshire for the Free State Project. So
I don't think you know that, but I do love Dave Ridley and his activism. I interviewed him about his activism from when he first moved here, and I love that interview. And I actually was just like having this annoying conversation with other Free Staters. For listeners that don't know, Free Staters are libertarian or freedom-minded people who moved to the Free State of New Hampshire in order to create a community of people who all think like us, like agree with the non-aggression principle. And I recently was having an annoyed disagreement with a group of Free Staters, and I really just wanted to send them. I mean, it inspired me to do more of these interviews because I really wished that they knew their own history. It's like you joined a movement, you don't even know the history of it, and you're just going to repeat mistakes without
they
realizing
don't know about the activism of Russell and Kat Canning. They don't know about Dave Ridley. They don't know about all the activism going on in Keene.
Since like 2006, I think. We have Ridley on the line. Are anything else, Turd?
No, that's fine. I gotta make the announcements anyway. So yeah, God bless Dave Ridley. He's a great man.
I agree. Thank you, Turd, for the call. And Dave Ridley, sorry I didn't have a button pressed so it hung up on you earlier. Dave in Colorado, what's on your mind?
I thoroughly concur.
With Turd?
Okay, so I actually had I only called, I've only been on the line for about 90 seconds, so I'm not really sure what you were talking about before. I just heard you mention me. And then I heard someone say something really nice about me, which I always concur with. But, if I missed something, keep me up to date, but I was actually calling about something else.
All right. Well, what's on your mind tonight?
So it's an update on the AI crisis or threat or danger, whatever you want to call it, and also the promise of AI. I've been trying to draw as much attention and publicity as possible to people who are trying to solve the we might call the AI problem or the alignment problem.
Yep.
So the alignment problem for the uninitiated is basically defined as whether AI is friendly to humanity or not. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but making sure that it is friendly is it's crucial. It's probably the most important issue on this side of the afterlife. And so one person who has made some progress here is a guy named it looks like he's made progress anyway. His name is Yoshua Bengino. Have you guys ever heard of him?
No.
He's considered essentially one of the three main godfathers of AI. And he has started a company called lawzero.org. And their idea, his philosophy, it was really simple and easy to understand, is that what you want to do is make a really intelligent AI that is not agentic, which means it doesn't do anything, doesn't have any goals. It's just a scientist and just trying to collect information and make predictions. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but that makes me think of like Minority Report, because it didn't really make the AI in that movie didn't do anything. It sent the cops to go do the thing. It just collected data and then made assumptions based off that data.
Yeah, so it could be misused as well. But the idea of making sure there's no agentic behavior, it turns it into basically an oracle as opposed to a genie. Does that make sense?
Like a thought crime, oh, I bet somebody might commit a crime, and then you're getting arrested when you didn't even do it.
Yeah, like pre-crime, charging you for pre-crime.
Yes, you could use something like this for that bad purpose. It can be misused like any good technology. But it does seem like he's onto something here, and again, they're making this thing they call scientist AI, basically, and its job would be to help determine how the actual artificial general intelligence is created, or how to avoid creating it in such a way that it's a threat.
So you're saying this guy that you're talking about, he wants to create that type of a database, but somehow with giving it enough guardrails that's not a threat?
Well, that sounds more like creating an AGI, an artificial general intelligence. What he's trying to do is create just an oracle, just an information processing system.
So someone could put information into the system and will process it for them?
It will answer questions.
Okay.
And the question to be answered right now is, how do we design artificial general intelligence so that it's not a threat to humanity? Because someone's going to design it, and they're going to design it soon.
That is the big question at the ages right now. And I don't
So
have an
like a
answer for it.
helper AI, like an AI that'll put the guardrails on the big AI almost?
It's more like it would tell you how to put the guardrails on.
Okay.
I see.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, did you know
So
that
anyway-
Donald Trump apparently is trying to override state AI regulations via executive order?
Yeah, isn't it weird how the one time when we actually, regulation, there's a small chance at least that regulation might actually do more good than harm on this one issue. But for the first time in history, the government is against regulation.
Yeah, the president is just like, no regulating that. Yeah, that never happens. That's a good point.
Yeah, now regulation, of course, regulation itself is a threat, right? Because you could regulate AI in such a way to make it more dangerous, just like, that's how it works with drugs. That's how it works with almost everything.
Well,
But,
one thing I've always heard is that, like, the idea of regulation itself is not actually dangerous. Sounds crazy, but, like, government regulation is. But, like, without a government, we could still have an entity that says, hey, this is what's safe, this is what's not. And then your business could say, we comply with the entity's regulations, and somebody else's might not. And then the consumers can choose not to, use the dangerous, basically not following the regulation company. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, I like to say I'm in favor of regulation of the most strict kind, which is the regulation that is provided by competition.
Yeah. I think that's what I
Yeah.
said. Or what I was
I
getting at,
think
basically.
the regulation provided by competition would be much better, because then competing AI models could flush out things that are harmful. For example, AI models could compete to say, oh, well, we want to have guardrails, and if people want guardrails on their AI, then they're going to use the AI version that has a lot of guardrails on it.
Anyway, I like what he's doing enough to sing his website, lawzero.org.
Well, I'm sure people can learn more at that website. Thank you for the call, Dave Ridley. More Dave Ridley at ridleyreport.com. And with you on Free Talk Live, you've got me, Bonnie, Riley, and Angelo, and more Free Talk Live coming up. 603-283-6160 is the phone number. That's 603-283-6160. Bring up whatever's on your mind. More Free Talk Live coming up. Don't go anywhere.
If you're looking for work, you know the math. There are many more applicants than openings, so you need to stand out, not blend into the blah, blah, blah your interviewer is hearing from your competition. Here's a tip. In your interview, you will be judged more by the questions you ask than the answers you give. Yes, do anticipate the obvious job interview questions and prepare concise, insightful, glass half full sounding responses. And you should interview your interviewer. Seem genuinely curious about what will help get results. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. You want to cut through the clutter. For more tips for job seekers and making all the other conversations you have more productive, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. The U.S. intends to confiscate the oil that was on board a tanker seized off the Venezuelan coast on Wednesday, saying it was tied to the black market and used to fund narco-terrorism. Wednesday's dramatic interception, with the U.S. military rappelling off a helicopter onto the ship, has escalated tensions between Washington and Caracas. FSN's Tony Waterman has more from Washington.
The seized tanker was transporting about 2 million barrels of oil, valued at north of $80 million. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the U.S. intends to confiscate the oil, calling the ship a sanctioned vessel associated with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard that had apparently been heading towards Cuba.
The president is committed to stopping the illegal flow of drugs into our country. He's also fully committed to effectuating this administration's sanction policy, and that's what you saw and the world saw take place yesterday.
Levitt says the crew on board the vessel is now being questioned and evidence seized as part of a forfeiture procedure. Venezuela has called the seizure an act of international piracy.
After Ukraine peace talks in London, the French government said it will intensify work on security guarantees and reconstruction. FSN's Stuart Smith reports from London.
The leaders of Europe's three biggest economies say they're keen to help provide the political backing Kyiv needs to get the kind of peace it wants, which means helping Ukraine steady itself against unrelenting pressure from the United States to accept terms Russia will be happy with. The details of the latest negotiations remain secret, but Ukraine's President Zelensky says the surrender of territory and what guarantees can be provided to back up any peace deal are still the most sensitive issues and still unresolved. Ahead of the talks, he said Ukraine can't manage without Europeans, nor can it manage without the Americans.
Hamas said that international mediators must pressure Israel to respect the Gaza ceasefire agreement before the group agrees to move forward into the second phase of the wider peace plan. FSN's Blake Sifton reports from Tel Aviv.
Senior Hamas leader Hussam Badran accused Israel of violating the ceasefire agreement by not opening the Rafah crossing with Egypt and fully increasing the amount of aid entering Gaza, and by continuing to carry out deadly strikes. Israeli authorities also accuse Hamas of violating the agreement and say its strikes in Gaza have been in retaliation for attacks against its soldiers. Israeli forces have killed at least 376 Palestinians since the ceasefire began, according to local health officials. Israel has said it is prepared to open the Rafah crossing for Palestinians to leave Gaza, but not to return.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this.
Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and 603-283-6160 is the phone number. That's 603-283-6160. It is a radio show, so you can hear us if you're watching online on the streams, but unfortunately, we have something wrong with the cameras. I made one step during the break. I thought I fixed it, but yeah, next break I might get the cameras back up, and then you can see my Christmas bells and Riley's Santa Claus hat. But with you on the show tonight, you've got me, Bonnie,
Riley O'Bill,
and Angelo.
And at the beginning of the last segment, I started to kind of tease something that I had already teased like 2 weeks ago that I wanted to talk about, but we never brought it up all the way, or we never got into the article is what I mean. And I was saying how it's related to, you know, the chalk wars of 2011 in Keene, New Hampshire that some listeners may be familiar with, but not exactly. A man's quest to turn sewer covers into art landed him in jail. And if you have anything you want to say about this, if you want to tell us a story of how you got landed in jail, especially if it's like not right, let us know. 603-283-6160 is the phone number. You can bring up whatever's on your mind. Like, those are just some examples. You can change the subject. You can tell us we're wrong about things. It's literally the point of Free Talk Live. 603-283-6160. And this is from Wall Street Journal, the Wall Street Journal.
Reputable news source.
Right, all of them. A man's quest to turn sewer covers into art landed him in jail. Sioux County, which I don't remember, where is that? Sounds familiar. Oh wait, I meant to say city anyway. Sioux City has
Sioux City, Iowa?
Iowa, okay.
I've been to Sioux City, Iowa. I knocked doors for Vivek for 3 days.
I've only driven through Iowa and only once, so I don't know.
It's right on the border of South Dakota.
I might have been there then because we literally went into it and then into South Dakota.
Yeah.
Maybe I've driven past it. Not exactly been there. Sioux City, and I did check that off of my like. How many states have you been to? I'm gonna check off ones I've driven through. You don't have to stop in every single one. But anyways.
Well, some of those western states, It's 10 hours across, so you might as well just spend a night in there and get it checked off the list.
It would be kind of crazy to be there for 10 hours and never get out to pee or anything. But so I think some people are like, well, you can't count, like, Bonnie can't count Iowa because you literally just drove through it and didn't. I was physically in that state, so I'm counting it. But anyways, there are people that don't argue crap like that. It's so annoying. Like, I even give people, and I don't count Washington State because when I was 3 years old, we flew from Alaska to Alabama with a layover in Washington State. All right, fine, I won't count Washington State, but technically, I was literally there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But whatever. I can't
Well,
remember.
my grandma says she claims Texan and she lived there for 2 years of her life.
What do you mean? Of
She
course
was born in Texas, but
You're
she
saying-
she has nothing Texas about her.
She claims it as that's where
Yeah,
she's from.
she's like, I'm a Texan. I was born in Texas. I was born on Texas soil.
I find it like just that's a little personal. It depends. Like if you really just want to claim where you're from, even if you have like no connection to it, whatever. But I don't. Like I was born in Alaska. I have no family there. I lived there for 3 years. Or I think 3 years. I don't know. I don't count it. That makes no sense for me to count it. But I don't know. Everybody's different. But this guy in Sioux City, I'm gonna assume Iowa. He went to jail because he was making sewer. That's kind of funny. Sioux City sewer. Sewer covers into art. But we have a caller on the line, so we want to see what is on their mind. Sarah in New Mexico, you're on Free Talk Live. What is on your mind tonight, Sarah?
I have to break you guys that election result. I'm sure you guys are curious.
Well, it sounds like you're happy, so I'm sure the Democrat won.
Oh, yeah, but do you know by how many points? So he got 74,000 voters to come out for him. So he won by like 18 points.
I guess those sweatshirts really helped, didn't they?
Well, that was they're using the homeless for a free billboard.
I know, right?
Yeah, it was meant to be a satire to make him look bad, but I guess that made him look good.
That really is just risky. Like, I thought it was a really funny idea, but it seems risky because even though you're giving the homeless those and it's supposed to look like, oh, you want more homeless roaming around, then vote for the Democrat.
No, because you gotta... That was a joke for intelligent people.
That's the point.
Yeah,
The other
and
thing
that's
is,
not the average voter.
The other thing is, like, you don't know that homeless person didn't just turn around and sell that. And then like somebody else is just wearing the Democrat shirt, you know, or give it to his niece, you know, and somebody else is just wearing the Democrat shirt, you know, or a sweatshirt or whatever. It seems like it was way too risky, but also hilarious, and it didn't pan out for him. It sounds like that Republican that did that. So, yep.
Well, I think it really helped his campaign because he got more attention. They were on the news talking about it. They were all on the computer. But you're right. For an average dumb voter, it actually, all you see is like, oh, Tim Keller, somebody loves him. It's for intelligent people that could turn it around and see the deep joke behind it. But if you're an average dumb voter of Albuquerque or just dumb voter period all across America, you know, it's just name recognition. You know what I mean? It just beats somebody into your head. I think you have a point.
Yep. Well, so he won by, it sounds like a lot. 18 points. I mean, sounds like a lot for.
That's probably like 12,000 votes. Well, you said 74,000 votes for him. So, like, well, how many people voted? 140,000 people? 130,000 people?
Kind of like I think the first time, I'm hearing like maybe this time 130,000, and that was the same, about not much difference. But then the first time that we had 4 weeks of voting, and we only had 1 week of voting, and the numbers are about the same.
So do you have to vote in the first one to vote in the runoffs, or can you wait to cast your vote until the final runoff?
No, you could always choose to vote for either one or both. That was one of the big questions that they asked. They're like, if I don't vote in the first one, am I allowed to vote on the second one? No, you could just wait and do the finish off. And a lot of people have done that. They just wait until it's the final vote because they feel like the first time is like picking up from the six, the top two. It's like kind of like a primary. And primary is like, well, so You know, I think it's more important to pick out at the last two. I mean, it depends on how you feel. So yeah, but I've talked to a lot of people that they only vote in the runoff, and they just kind of wait until the top two. But so.
Well, do you think that you're going out to the college to get people to go vote helped?
Here's the thing. I really think it really did, even though people don't give me any credit. And what's the good thing about it is that there was a seat that was open. Luis Sanchez was one of the West Side shelter. He was kind of like a social democrat, like kind of doing what the Republicans want. Now we got a solid Democrat because of the voter turnout. When they went to vote for the mayor, large numbers of people came out. They also said, "Oh, there's two people of a counselor," and obviously they voted for a Democrat counselor. So we have a really progressive counselors, and that's what we got for having a big turnout. You know, so yeah. So I converted the students. They voted for the Uvayas, the more liberal guy, they won 60%, but when it came down to Keller and the Republican, they voted for Keller. And, the sound bites that everybody does, Darren White had this homeless and crime. Yeah, but it's good just to say things off if you're like like a federal election. There's a sound bites, just beat something into people's heads. But if you live in the city, you see the result. I mean, it's like it's one thing to say it, to actually have our current mayor have the Gateway homeless shelter, something that he has accomplished. It's not enough to just say same thing over and over again, just to beat it in your head. And people just fall for it. That did not happen this time.
So the mayor that won, didn't you say that he also wants to have the free grocery stores or whatever it is in Albuquerque, like they're trying to do in New York City? Not free, but what is it?
State-owned.
It's government. What is it? Punjabi or something like that in New York. But it's basically a state-owned grocery store. So
and your mayor wants
by a corporation, right?
Okay. Wow, so it'll be interesting to see how that turns out in Albuquerque.
Probably about as badly as it will turn out in New York.
Yep.
Yeah, you think it's a desert now.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? Maybe we read this on the show, but one thing, and thank you for the call, Sarah. Good work. You did your work. You got something accomplished.
Yeah, exactly.
People can learn
Good
from
job.
Sarah. Sarah doesn't have a job necessarily to keep her busy, but if you have enough extra time, you want to get things done, you could, like Sarah. But that's the thing. I always think the Democrats are way more organized and like committed than the right.
Well, that's because they have a bunch of Sarahs that have all day, every day to go to college campuses.
But one thing, maybe we read it on the show, so maybe I already told you guys this and also the listeners, but one thing that Reason Magazine, I think it was, pointed out is that or maybe it was fee.org. But anyways, all that Mamdani would have to do in New York City to lower food prices is to allow Walmart in. Because right now they don't allow Walmart.
Really?
Which is
interesting.
The best grocery store at keeping prices down, apparently. The best store currently at getting things and selling them for the cheapest. Getting the most things and selling them for the cheapest. Which I guess if you asked me to guess, I would have guessed that, but I never really thought about that. So I read that in that article. And also, since New York City bans Walmart, all they would really need to do is get Walmart into their store and it'd be wildly popular, it'd be wildly successful, and yeah, it would do more for them than having a state-run.
I guess Mamdani wants to have a government-run store so he can feel important. Instead of cutting prices by allowing competition in the market, he wants to set the prices himself and pretend that he's doing the good thing. Well,
yeah, he wants it to look like
prices remain stagnantly low, but then when people go to the store to buy food, there's nothing there because the prices are too low.
Yep, and he just wants it to look like, well, if the state is running a grocery store, you need the state. That's what people will be put into dumb people's heads, you know?
Of course.
So this a story, it is in Iowa, says a man's quest to turn sewer covers into art landed him in jail. Sioux County, so I keep saying county for some reason, Sioux City has rallied around its manhole Michelangelo after his paintings got him arrested and made the Iowa city the butt of jokes. Oh, that'll be funny if it has like him making anti-government jokes on the sewers. But we do have a caller on the line, so we'll get into this after. And the number is 603-283-6160. Unscreened caller, you're on Free Talk Live. What is on your mind?
Hey, you were talking about driving through Iowa.
Uh-huh.
That means you can count that on the states that you visited.
I think so. Do you agree?
Yeah, yes, of course. I was trying to get Libertariat from the Matrix chat to join the call with me, but he said, "Thanks for offering, LOL."
Well, that's fine. He doesn't have to join. I mean, if you guys ever wanted to call him together, there's nothing against that or anything, but did you have anything else on your mind other than Libertariats or whatever he was going to say?
I don't know what he was going to say.
But do you have anything else on your mind?
Okay, the story from Iowa.
Oh, yeah. What about it? He hung up. Oh, he's telling me to, all right, do this story from Iowa, I think. Okay, my bad.
Okay. All right.
Pointless call, but okay.
Well, thanks for the call. Well, it seemed like he had a plan there, but then Libertariat left him hanging, so.
All right, well.
I don't blame him. Call back next time, whatever's on your mind. And so the number is 603-283-6160. Let's get into this Wall Street Journal story. It says, Brandon Bradshaw eyed a manhole cover from different angles before bending his lanky frame to spray paint a series of arcs and slashing strokes on the street around it. After about 30 minutes, he had completed his latest work. A neon-tinged bloom of color about 10 feet across. The ones that I've seen in the couple pictures here, it looks like he mostly makes these big colorful flowers around the manhole, where the manhole is the center.
Oh, I see. And then I just forgot the name of the middle of the flower. I had it and it's gone, but I know what you're talking about.
The stamen, maybe. I don't know.
Exactly know what that is, but just the, I don't know. It's like there's another word I'm missing.
The black eye on a black-eyed Susan.
Yeah, or the yellow on a daisy.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyways, yeah, he just uses the circle in the middle for. They look kind of like if a child drew a flower, but he does a lot more
better
design.
It's a lot deeper.
But and really colorful and big. So he said, "It sounds stupid, but the flowers kind of decide what they want to do," said the 46-year-old general contractor, youth sports coach, and father of two. His passion for turning mundane public infrastructure into objects of whimsy has landed Bradshaw in legal trouble and turned him into a folk hero in this western Iowa city of 87,000, where Big Sioux River flows into the Missouri. A nearby town this month showed support for his idea with a sewer flower painting contest, and and 4 more plan to follow suit. But the thing is, if that's totally illegal, because this looks like spray paint, not chalk, but anyways, maybe these sewer flower painting contests can still go on, but they just use chalk instead. But anyways, a petition to drop criminal charges against Bradshaw gained about 2,200 signatures, and a friend is selling t-shirts calling him the Manhole Michelangelo.
That's fun.
Meanwhile, Sioux City has been dubbed Sewer City for its fixation on the sanctity of its public works.
It is the smelliest place I think I've ever been.
Really? But when we were driving through, I don't really remember Iowa stinking, but when we drove through South Dakota, I've always told everyone that it stunk.
Really? It was, there's a huge Tyson meatpacking plant right on the river.
No.
And it just,
maybe that is where it started.
It just, because it's like a tri-state area. Nebraska's really close, South Dakota's really close, and then it's Iowa. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like a 15 minutes you can be in all 3 states. And I drove to Nebraska and I was like, dude, why does it smell so bad? I'm 5 minutes from my hotel that I was staying at. And they're like, yeah, it's the Tyson plant. It's one of the biggest in the country.
Awful.
And it just stunk so bad.
And Tyson is not the nicest kind to eat meat to eat. There we go.
I've heard that they were supposed to be the best, apparently, but I guess not.
Are you being sarcastic?
I don't know. I've just heard that they were supposedly good one day.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought you were making a joke because I was saying that they're not the nicest, as in, like, they are mean to their animals.
Okay. I didn't know that.
And also, I think that, like, maybe if you were just going off, like, nothing but taste and you're buying frozen chicken nuggets, like, maybe they are better than, like, the store brand. I don't know, but I'm just saying that, like, I don't trust anything that's, like, mega farming. For one thing, they use the cheapest things to feed the animals. They pack animals in small places. They have to be less sanitary. And then because of stuff like that, their answer to things about, like, if something's unsanitary, it's always more poison. It's always like, well, we just, like, cover the whole place
in
with
bleach every day.
Yeah,
and then we
exactly.
had to get a chicken that was genetically modified to not die from exposure to bleach.
Exactly. That is literally, like, not even a stretch. If that literally doesn't happen, I'd be surprised.
They definitely probably do that with some type of produce.
And if anything, once it's dead, they bleach it. So, it's just...
So a lot of chemicals, a lot of mistreatment of animals.
So many people are interested in this topic now more than before, and I think a lot of it has to do with, like, the conversations leading up to the election and, like, RFK. Yeah. And one place that I learned the most about nutrition and farming in general, not that I'm, like, a farmer, but, like, the most I learned about how things go on out there is from the Strong Sisters Instagram. They also have a podcast called Rooted in Resilience. They're first-generation two young girls, farmers, first-generation farmers, I'm about to say. They're two young girls, they're sisters, and they talk about all this stuff. Like,
Nice.
I would suggest them if anybody's really interested in all that and how it works.
And I think that's probably one of my biggest, like, vegans don't realize
they
how
got me
much
to stop thinking veganism was good.
Yeah, because of how many animals goes into, like, what you have to do to make a field that you can, like, use to grow things. You go through and you kill thousands of living creatures to make that a place that can grow the corn or the wheat or your avocados. They go through and kill every gopher and every rabbit and every bug.
Yep, snakes, frogs.
And then the birds who eat the bugs starve because there's no more bugs to eat. And it's an ecosystem, and you disrupt it by destroying it to build your whatever they use today, your kale farm.
Mm-hmm. Soy is supposed to be really bad for that. Soy and corn are supposed to be, like, really bad for that stuff.
Well, I think corn is supposed to, I think it goes the roots go pretty deep, or used to. They've probably genetically modified them.
I don't know.
And it just pulls a lot of nutrients out of the soil. It's like a heavy impact on soil.
And even if it didn't, the glyphosate and other, like, metal chelators they put on plants in order to, as pesticides, get rid of all the minerals you need out of the soil. It's not good. Anyways, and the other thing is, what is fed to an animal does matter. Like, what is fed to an animal impacts the amount of nutrition you get out of the animal when you eat it. So that's another thing I don't like about Tyson. So
okay,
like, and cows aren't supposed to eat corn. Cows are not built to digest corn.
Grass.
Yeah, and well, most of the beef you eat is corn-fed beef. Most of the corn grown in America just goes back into the beef industry. We don't even eat it.
Wow.
And just most of it goes back into feeding.
And we eat a lot of
cows
it.
More
feeding
fat.
cows.
That's
It's a
why
lot
they
of sugar
feed it
beets and corn.
One thing that was very difficult, I cut out a whole bunch of stuff in the last couple years of eating food, and one of the most difficult was cutting out corn, like, altogether. When I tried doing that, like, I'm not necessarily doing that 100% right now. When I was doing it 100%, first of all, it was one of the most noticeable changes in my, like, mental state. It was like, yeah, you can, when you stop eating seed oils, like, you don't immediately feel great. I mean, I don't know, maybe your experience may vary. But when I stopped eating corn, I immediately felt great.
Well, I think for the like, with the wheat, the bread, and you can talk about, like, the gluten, like, impact on your body with, like, inflammation and stuff, and the way the white bread's been stripped and then a bunch of filler put in. Like, it's not the way it spikes your insulin and it makes you puffy and it makes you feel not good. Like there's a couple days that you have to get away from those things for your body to kind of like detox off of like those seed oils. So I think it does for everybody. I don't think you're going to like cut it off and then feel great the next day.
Seed oils takes literally years, and it's because the fat you eat impacts the fat composition of your body. So it literally takes years. The first year I didn't eat seed oils, I was like totally happy to be doing it and felt better because when you avoid seed oils, you avoid a whole bunch of other stuff. But I was still getting sunburns. And so I didn't believe the people online that said like, oh, if you don't eat seed oils, you won't get sunburn. And then another year goes by, and now to this day, I just don't sunburn. And I used to easily sunburn. And the other thing is like I had to check a couple things I didn't realize were actually like still getting seed oils into my body. Like if you eat a pig that was fed nothing but soy, its fat content is essentially eating soybean oil because its fat content is made from the fat it ate, which was soy. Huh. And so yeah, if you eat pork, you got to cut out the soy-fed pork. I'm sure that eating corn-fed cows cannot be good for you either. I really incredibly recommend the Strong Sistas. Like if I could force everybody that I cared about in my life to just like go listen to one podcast, it'd be Rooted in Resilience. It's so eye-opening and like, anyways, not eating corn is pretty good for you, and it's probably the plant itself, especially since it's been so genetically modified. It's nothing like what we found when we first got here to the Americas, but also because it holds on to Roundup and the other pesticides, and that gets in your body. It's horrible for you. More Free Talk Live coming up. What happened to this guy who was just trying to bring some whimsy to his town? Call in. More Free Talk Live coming up. 603-283-6160. Don't go anywhere.
Free Talk Live. Just because we may believe what we say doesn't mean you should trust everything that we say either. You may love Free Talk Live. You may think Free Talk Live is the best show you've ever heard, but that doesn't mean that you should trust us. You don't know us. You know us from what you hear us talk about on the radio, and sometimes that can make you think that you know a talk show host. It might make you feel like you're best friends with that talk show host. You're listening 18 hours a week. You know what they talk about on their show. You must know what they're really like in real life. But you don't really know that. And that's the reality of talk radio. I'm sorry, I know I'm breaking all the rules of talk radio here tonight, but that's the truth. These are just people. Rush is not a special man any more than anybody else, any more than you are a special man or woman. He's just a guy. In fact, he's a guy with a drug habit.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern at freetalklive.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. The U.S. intends to confiscate the
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the U.S. intends to confiscate the oil, calling the ship a sanctioned vessel associated with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard that had apparently been heading towards Cuba.
The president is committed to stopping the illegal flow of drugs into our country. He's also fully committed to effectuating this administration's sanction policy, and that's what you saw and the world saw take place yesterday.
Levitt says the crew on board the vessel is now being questioned and evidence seized as part of a forfeiture procedure. Venezuela has called the seizure an act of international piracy.
After Ukraine peace talks in London, the French government said it will intensify work on security guarantees and reconstruction. FSN's Stuart Smith reports from London.
The leaders of Europe's three biggest economies say they're keen to help provide the political backing Kyiv needs to get the kind of peace it wants, which means helping Ukraine steady itself against unrelenting pressure from the United States to accept terms Russia will be happy with. The details of the latest negotiations remain secret, but Ukraine's President Zelensky says the surrender of territory and what guarantees can be provided to back up any peace deal are still the most sensitive issues and still unresolved. Ahead of the talks, he said Ukraine can't manage without Europeans, nor can it manage without the Americans.
Hamas said that international mediators must pressure Israel to respect the Gaza ceasefire agreement before the group agrees to move forward into the second phase of the wider peace plan. FSN's Blake Sifton reports from Tel Aviv.
Senior Hamas leader Hussam Badran accused Israel of violating the ceasefire agreement by not opening the Rafah crossing with Egypt and fully increasing the amount of aid entering Gaza, and by continuing to carry out deadly strikes. Israeli authorities also accuse Hamas of violating the agreement and say its strikes in Gaza have been in retaliation for attacks against its soldiers. Israeli forces have killed at least 376 Palestinians since the ceasefire began, according to local health officials. Israel has said it is prepared to open the Rafah crossing for Palestinians to leave Gaza, but not to return.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN. The United States is seeking to vet the social media accounts of all tourists as a requirement for entering the country. It's part of the Trump administration's wider crackdown on immigration, as Jagruti Dave reports from Washington.
US Customs and Border Protection have published a 60-day notice and request for comments on proposed changes to their visa waiver program. The changes include a requirement for ESTA applicants to provide their social media from the last 5 years. They're also asking for other information such as email addresses and telephone numbers used in the last 5 years, as well as the names, addresses, numbers and birthdays of family members. Donald Trump has overseen a crackdown on immigration in his second term. The CBP proposal cites a presidential executive order aimed at protecting the United States from foreign terrorists.
U.S. President Trump announced that he will allow AI chip giant NVIDIA to sell its advanced H200 chips to approved customers in China. The decision comes after extensive lobbying by NVIDIA boss Jensen Huang, who visited Washington last week to drum up support. FSN's Laura Westbrook reports.
The decision to grant NVIDIA permission to ship its second most powerful chip to China in exchange for a 25% surcharge caps weeks of deliberations. US President Donald Trump reportedly said he informed President Xi Jinping about the move and that President Xi had responded favorably. The move is a victory for NVIDIA in its push to get Trump and Congress to relax export controls that have kept the company from selling its AI chips to the world's largest semiconductor arena. But experts say easing restrictions on the H200 and similar grade chips risks giving an edge to Chinese companies like DeepSeek that compete with the US.
That was a look back at some of the week's top stories. Ira Spitzer reports.
While digital communications coordinator Brian Tyler is considered by many of his coworkers to be the cutest guy around the offices of Western Psychological Publishing Services, employees conceded today the 27-year-old is not even particularly attractive.
Brian gets a lot of attention from girls around here, but if I saw him in a bar, I don't know if I would even notice him. Put him next to Glenn or Mike, and then, sure, he actually looks pretty good.
Coworkers explained to reporters that by everyday standards, Tyler would at best be considered moderately good-looking, but explained that given the abundance of unattractive men at the publishing firm, female employees often go out of their way to make small talk with the 27-year-old at his desk or eat lunch with him in the office kitchen.
I saw him walking to work the other day, and half the guys on the street were easily better looking than him. But here, he's the hottest guy around. It's almost kind of sad. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd still f*** him.
This is the Onion News Network.
We're still not sure why you'd want to watch, but our video feed is streaming nightly for free at cam.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. That means 603-283-6160 is the phone number you can call to get in on the conversation with us. That's 603-283-6160. And I'd like to thank Kat for being an amplifier with us here at Free Talk Live. That means that Kat went to amps.freetalklive.com and signed up to support the show. AMPS stands for Advertise, Market, Promote, and Support. Thanks to Kat and everyone who supports us, and again, that's amps.freetalklive.com if you'd like to check out the perks and benefits of becoming an amplifier. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie,
Riley O'Bill,
and Angelo.
And I did get the streams back on, so if you're watching, well, obviously you'd know that if you're watching on YouTube, but if you want to be watching, it's not just a blank screen anymore. So yeah, the power that went out kind of like turned some things off, I guess. Luckily,
you know, I will say that during our power outage here at the studio, it was nice to have like a UPS device which allowed us to still access the internet. That was really interesting for me.
Oh, no, it's not the UPS. In that case, it's just a generator. So.
Well, whatever it was nice to be able to have access to the internet while the power was out. It was really cool. It was a very unique experience because normally, if something like that happens at your house, you don't get internet anymore or access to the Wi-Fi. Your power's gone.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that, but.
Well, unless like a Starlink backup, do you need a generator for that if it's like powered? Because I know some, like one of the systems, like the portable system, doesn't that have like a
solar?
Like is it solar or
no,
is there
I'm
like
asking you. I didn't pay attention.
I don't know. I just know that you can use a portable. Like if you can get the Starlink like in the back of your pickup, you don't carry a generator. It's like the size of an iPad. You carry it with you.
But I just charge it while you're driving.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So like if your power kicks off, does it just like hold your internet? Like I don't know. Isn't there Starlink at the studio?
I don't deal with any of that or pay attention to any of that. And besides, we have a generator, so it wouldn't have like turned off our Wi-Fi either way. Like Riley was saying, he just stayed on the regular Wi-Fi without it. But one thing I'm happy about is Mr. Penguin getting things fixed up for us, where if the power did surge again like that, well, it didn't completely destroy things like what happened a few months ago. It is really a little bit of a, believe it or not, like juggling challenge in order to keep a radio studio going in your house. It really is. And this particular thing today, I didn't catch it because I literally, my last step is turning on the stream. And when I turn on the stream, I'm like, oh, what's going on? And it was just too late. But it was easy enough to fix. I just had to basically turn those things off and back on, and they came on, and yay. So with you on Free Talk Live, I think I already said you've got Bonnie, Riley O'Bill, and Angelo. And in the last segment, we were talking about this story from Wall Street Journal, and I really want to know what the government tried to do to this guy. He said that he wants to bring whimsy into everyday items and objects. So,
and what's wrong with bringing whimsy into the mundane world?
It's like, sure, I would say it's absolutely wrong if this was someone else's property.
Sure.
But apparently
Absolutely.
It's his property that he paid his tax money for, correct? Oh,
Indeed.
no, it's everyone's property. That doesn't even make sense, as
It
we've
does not
explained
make
to
sense.
Peter a million times.
It's like we talk about on the show. It's the tragedy of the commons, where when you claim that everyone owns it, nobody seems to own it, nobody seems to take care of it, so they say, well, the government should take care of it. Well, how good does the government take care of things?
Not very well. That's why people are always saying, oh, there's an infrastructure crisis like all over the country. Yeah. To be honest, scrolling through the pictures, I really like this one that a woman made more than his particular one. So it's like say it was my property and I wanted to hire someone, like, I wouldn't want this man just sneaking on my property and putting his necessarily on there. I wouldn't like her doing that either. But I'm just saying, that's the whole thing. Where it just highlights the problem of trying to say that, oh, well, that's why you pay taxes, so that way you get to own the courthouse. You don't own the courthouse. If you owned a place, they wouldn't be allowed to tell you have to leave the courtroom because you whispered to your friend. That literally happened to me. I literally got kicked out of a courtroom in 10 seconds in Massachusetts the other day. But
I wonder if that's a record.
Seriously, that's a good point. It's my record, at least. Been kicked out before, but that was my record.
Yeah, you should do some sleuthing, see if there's a faster somebody getting kicked, especially if you're not part of like the court proceeding, how fast.
Or like not already just not allowed in there. I wasn't not allowed. So like if somebody has been like, oh, I beat your record because I walked in, I wasn't allowed, and they kicked me right out. Well, that's a little different. Like I was not allowed. I sat down, I whispered to my friend and got yelled at for whispering. My mouth was hanging open. I already told this story, but maybe somebody else didn't already hear it.
It's just so strange that they would just kick you out because you let out a little tiny whisper.
I know, and it's not that it's like, oh, somebody heard it. The cop literally just saw me do it. Like, literally the people sitting next to me couldn't have possibly heard what I said. Anyways, it's so annoying every time I think about that story.
So what'd Sioux City do to the guy?
Yeah, we got to read the thing we've been hinting at and not getting into. So basically, this guy, they're saying he's a local celebrity now. He had his friend made T-shirts calling him the manhole Michelangelo. And also they're making fun of the city now, which is always a great thing. They say he's a local celebrity now. Shelley Selfridge, a clerk at a convenience store where one of Bradshaw's flowers graces the pavement, and his legal problems are a frequent topic of conversation. He went Facebook viral, which I thought was kind of neat. But I wish he wouldn't have gotten arrested for it to happen, she said. He was just trying to make people smile. Bradshaw's artistic odyssey began in September as he hunkered down to set up his annual Halloween display in a yard littered with his handiwork, including a shelter for his pet ducks and a redneck movie theater with a big screen and fire pit.
Wait, what?
So apparently he likes to. I love people that do this, that have like a big decorated, for different holidays, front yard for holidays. Apparently he does that. He does an annual Halloween display. And he has a bunch of artwork in the same yard, and he has a shelter for his pet ducks. Adorable.
Wow. Oh, I thought you said he had a big screen for his ducks. I was like, what? He's showing movies to his ducks? This guy might be out there. Yeah, this sounds like Hunter S. Thompson level.
You know how people play YouTube videos that are like of squirrels running around for dogs?
For their dogs.
Maybe there's duck YouTube.
Maybe there is.
But he has a redneck movie theater, so he just has, like a big screen and fire pit. For probably people.
I bet that's probably fun. Maybe like casting like a game or something on there with all your friends in the backyard.
Yeah.
Like a sports ball game.
Well, not that, but yeah.
Or something like that. Well, I just feel like it's something like a barbecue.
Yeah.
With all
it would be fun. He sounds like a really fun guy, and it seems like he wants to share the love. Like you don't have a big screen and a fire pit in your backyard, and you just sit there by yourself watching what you want to watch. It seems like he likes entertaining and bringing whimsy to other people, and which is something I love so much about the people who go crazy with Halloween and Christmas decorations in their yard. It's like it's not just for them; they like to bring a smile to other people's face,
sharing in the fun,
and I love that. So after getting out a few cans of spray paint, something drew him to the manhole cover in the street. Soon he had painted his first sewer flower. People noticed and complimented it, so he painted more. Families started looking for them. See, that would be fun. You live in this town and oh, there's another one. I haven't seen that one. That would be fun, genuinely. Neighbors would stop him and ask if he could paint a flower for an ailing loved one or someone who needed cheering up. A lark turned into a calling. Our city needed a spark, and the more people I talked to, it gave them that spark, he said. Bradshaw painted at night after work, sometimes carrying a can of beer, spray paint containers clinking in his backpack. That's hilarious. So he's also breaking another rule, maybe. I guess it depends on
I wonder if that's why they arrested him. Maybe that they were looking for something to pin him for.
I mean, we
Well,
can't
it
have
has to be
happy
illegal.
people in a city after all.
It's Iowa. It's illegal.
No, it also has to be illegal to do these flowers, I think.
Oh,
I would
for
think.
sure. Probably.
Like, I don't think they need an excuse, but it'd be interesting if they got him for, like, open carrying container or whatever. Or open container is what I meant to say as well. So he knew he should probably seek a permit, but he didn't want to get bogged down in red tape. He told his, first of all, your whole community approves of it. You shouldn't need, if it is a common area, we're going to pretend that is a thing that makes sense to begin with, your whole community approves of it. And it's just the police that don't like it because they feel slighted. Or, the city in general. But he knew he should probably seek a permit, but he didn't want to get bogged down in red tape. He told a few of his police friends that if anyone complained, he would stop. I bet no one complained. Instead, on November 4th, they pounced. Earlier that night, Bradshaw had painted a flower for a man whose wife had cancer and another for a friend. As he walked away from the second painting, four squad cars pulled up and arrested him. He was charged with fourth-degree criminal mischief and public drinking. Oh, yeah. So both. After a night in jail, he paid a $1,300 bond and went home. That's a huge bond for something like that.
Yeah.
City crews, well, maybe it's not. Maybe that's normal for drinking. Maybe that's common for a charge like that. City crews erased. But seriously, what kind of law is that? You as a grown man can't walk down the street drinking a beer. That's insane to think about. If you really think about that.
I completely agree. Yeah.
There's open container laws in New Hampshire
there are
too.
people in the world that don't trust you to walk down the street with a can of beer because they're afraid that you're too intoxicated.
Iowa's a pretty draconian place.
Iowa?
Yeah, Iowa's a pretty big police state.
I would be not surprised. It's ridiculous that he even told his police friends, like, hey, if
Does
there's a
anyone
problem.
know where Iowa lands in the freedom in the 50 states?
Probably like 45.
Oh, I don't know if it'd be that bad.
Oh, I don't. Maybe
I don't
not
think
that
it'd be
low.
that
It's
bad
probably because they're
either.
fiscally pretty free,
I
but
imagine
they're
it'd
socially
probably-
pretty strict, is what I'm thinking.
Maybe.
Because they are.
Yeah, we can look at both.
I'm
so.
guessing it's in the top 25.
It says Iowa, number 21, so you're right. Oh, sorry, that's Ohio. I went directly to Ohio. Holy crap. It's 34.
Oh, I was wrong.
Angela was way closer. It must be really bad
What's
on
Oregon
personal
at now?
freedom. 46.
Yeah, jeez.
Wait, you said 45. Never mind. I
Yeah.
thought you said 35, but
No, I
in
guess,
between
yeah.
what you and Riley said. So Iowa is 34. Wow, I really mixed up where they were for a split second. That was bad. I know where all the states are. I'm not that bad, but I just mixed Iowa and Ohio up right away. I'm surprised that Ohio is better because I think of Ohio as a crazy police state.
Yeah, they are too. But Iowa,
they give a lot of
Iowa
money
and
away, that's for
Indiana
sure.
are somehow worse than Ohio.
So when you click on, so overall freedom, Iowa's number 34. This is the Freedom in the 50 States. I mean, it's just freedominthefiftystates.org by the Cato Institute.
It's not
And,
the Freedom Index anymore.
There's multiple
Oh,
different people that do this, but the one we usually reference on the show is Freedom in the 50 States. I
It's
can
the
look up that
Cato
one
one.
too. And so the overall freedom we said was 34, but when I click economic, it only goes up by 3. It's number 31. But when I click on personal, it's number 25. Oh, this is all just so confusing. It must be worse than we think economically.
Well, maybe because of like
It
gun
must
rights.
be different areas of freedom they're all considering in the survey.
Yeah.
To give it an overall score.
Yeah, so if I click on Iowa while we're under personal freedom, it says fiscal, reduce the government. This is what they recommend. This is what Cato recommends to make it more free. Fiscal, reduce the government workforce and spend less on education, especially higher education, public buildings, hospitals, highways, parking lots, and sanitation, all areas where the state spends more than average, and use the savings to cut property, sales, income, and motor vehicle license taxes. Personal says, adopt universal education savings account, like New Hampshire has. So, yeah, it says the tax burdens are above average in Iowa, both state and local tax burdens. And it says Iowa has consistently stood out as a leading state on regulatory policy. Land use freedom is much better than average, although the state hasn't done as much as some others about eminent domain for private gain. And like everywhere else, local zoning has become tighter. I guess that's just a countrywide problem. It's a right-to-work state without a minimum wage, and workers' compensation mandated coverage was liberalized slightly in 2008. Unlike most other states, Iowa doesn't mandate standing referrals or direct access to specialists in health plans. Okay, well, on the personal side, incarceration and victimless crime arrest rates are somewhat better or lower than average. So that makes it sound pretty average, like just slightly better than average. In 2018, Iowa stopped suspending driver's licenses for drug offenses unrelated to driving. Well, it sounds like they just arrested someone for drinking unrelated to driving. Educational freedom is somewhat high because the state has a long-standing tax credit scholarship program as well as interdistrict public school choice. Homeschooling was significantly liberalized and by liberalized, they mean made more free. So in case that's confusing people, make you think like blue-haired people. It was significantly liberalized in 2013. In 2023, the state adopted universal school choice.
School choice is, I think, it's a step in the right direction for sure. I think school choice is huge.
However, private schools are tightly regulated and mandatory state approval, teacher licensure, and detailed curriculum control is involved. Gambling freedom is high, and the state legalized online sports betting in 2019. Marijuana freedom is sharply limited. A single marijuana offense not involving minors can carry up to 50 years of prison time.
Wow.
Yeah.
All for a plant.
Yeah. Since the 1980s, Iowa has improved greatly on gun freedoms. Constitutional carry was adopted and owner licensing restrictions were removed in 2021. However, machine guns are still illegal. Not New Hampshire. There's a stricter than federal minimum age to purchase firearms. Whoa. And local private sales background checks are required. Alcohol freedom is mediocre because of the state involvement in wholesaling and high taxes on distilled spirits. So, well, that's really interesting to me. And I think it's interesting to talk about on the show because we are always telling people to move to New Hampshire if you care about freedom. And that's what at least Riley and I did. I don't know if Angelo's really considers himself that or a free stater, or if you feel that you'll be here permanently. You don't have to answer. I'm just explaining to the listeners why it's important that and why we talk about it so much.
Well, I think it's better to be around people. I agree more. I agree more with you on most everything than I did anybody that lives in the Portland area, which where I was living. So maybe I didn't necessarily move here for the Free State Project, but I'm definitely happy to be around people that I enjoy and agree with more than I don't.
It is really nice. I know Riley definitely agrees with that too.
Definitely.
It says that since 2021, Iowa has went down 2 spots in personal freedom. Since 2021, Iowa has went up 1 spot in economic freedom. So that's pretty interesting to me. But back to the story about the guy who got arrested for walking and drinking, but also for, what was the other one? He also got criminal mischief, 4th degree criminal mischief.
Which sounds like a hoopla charge.
Yeah, like literally nothing. So he paid bond and got out. City crews erased a few of the several dozen flowers he had painted, leaving ghostly white marks. Oh, it just says, ghostly marks in the street. It would look better to have a flower there than a ghostly mark.
Yeah, instead of just like black paint where there was
a
flower. Like everything else is dirty, but there's like a new splotch.
What's with government loving everything to be gray and mundane?
Because it's supposedly the cheapest.
I've also been saying for a long time, I genuinely think the government wants us depressed.
I think so too. I think gray sounds like a depressing color from what I hear when people portray it in storybooks. It's just gray and depressing.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like the government wants us all gray and depressed.
People have known it for a long time too, right? Like there's a lot of like subjective nonsense and like color theory and stuff like that. But like, for example, the Dutch, they have this theory called hygge, and it is the best. It's their like science of how to make a house or a place cozy and
like their feng shui, their version of
feng
shui.
It is like their version of feng shui, and they say no cool colors at all, period, but definitely not gray. And I'm not good at sticking to that because I love green, but anyways, I think about it so often though. When I go into a place and it's like, this is like depressing, nasty looking place, I usually notice that there's like blue and just like cool toned colors like gray. Often gray. Like every prison, it's like gray. That's such a prison thing. Concrete, gray.
Blue, like
beige,
light
maybe.
baby blue.
Yeah, I could see that. Just like nothing
Or orange.
actually
like,
nice.
I guess maybe not the jumpsuits. I'm thinking about like the tables, like what color the tables and the chairs they have in there. It's
Yeah.
usually like a light baby blue or like or gray or beige.
I hated these chairs that we had to sit in the visiting room, and the prison Ian was like accidentally in for a couple months. They looked like a baby room, like a play place, like they were like plastic ugly chairs.
Yeah.
They were all stuck together, so you couldn't like. And the ones in the current one he's at are blue. I think that the other ones were a different color, and it's just not occurring to me, or it's not popping up in my head again right now. But the
Well,
ones
blue is supposed to be relaxed in color, and, you know, they got to keep the people docile in the prison.
Yeah, but I can see blue being a relaxing color in that way, like being docile, and I just don't like the color blue that much.
But you add it with gray, and it's
Yep, even worse.
all you see with like a
Eeyore.
6-inch window that you can't really see through.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The government wants you depressed. They don't want you to have nice things. They are going to try to trick the people of New York City into thinking we just want everyone to have nice things, and that's not what it is. They just want more and more power. And if you have nice things and you have lots of energy and you feel good, especially like in your body, that's why they don't want you to have nice food. You'll have more ability to think clearly and pull yourself out of bed and do things for yourself, not only just for yourself, but maybe even resist them. And when you're depressed, when you're stressed out, I honestly think that they make driving worse. I have many different theories about that. Well, when you're stressed out, when you're depressed, it's a lot harder to resist government. You're just more like, okay, whatever, you can have all the power, I don't care. You're more docile.
Yeah.
I think part of it also is erasure of self. Like your self identity, it kind of gets thrown out in the wash. Like they want, because it's conformity, right? If you're a conformist, then you don't have self, because it's all about the group, right? Because you want to conform to the narrative or whatever it may be. Well,
basically what happened with this guy is he faced a year in jail, and people were absolutely trashing the cops on Facebook and things, saying, arresting the man for making this S-hole, like the city, more beautiful and creative. For shame, Sioux City, for shame. And people did not agree with this. It's just another example of you pay these people to go and make things worse for your own life. Like, you wouldn't choose to have this man arrested. You wouldn't choose to pay for it. And instead, they just decide to do whatever they want because it makes them look better, they think. And luckily, they failed. More Free Talk Live coming up, 603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live.
Hey, you are going to love the movie Victimless Crime Spree. It's hilarious, heartwarming, and carries a ton of inspiring freedom messages. Feeling down about the lack of liberty in your life? You need to put on this film with some friends and have a good laugh. It's a true story about me and my friends in New Hampshire living free, singing, dancing, and getting arrested. Of course, it's all on video, and the bad guys, the cops, judges, bailiffs, and sheriffs, they all play their part like it's out of a movie or something. You would think we scripted the whole thing, but it's real life. Go ahead and have a watch, and if it's been a while, have another look. I guarantee you'll notice things now that you didn't notice before. And the best part is that you're going to walk away feeling a renewed sense of your own power. You are the master of your destiny, and you will be free in your lifetime. Victimless Crime Spree.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. The U.S. intends to confiscate the oil that was on board a tanker seized off the Venezuelan coast on Wednesday, saying it was tied to the black market and used to fund narco-terrorism. Wednesday's dramatic interception, with the U.S. military rappelling off a helicopter onto the ship, has escalated tensions between Washington and Caracas. FSN's Tony Waterman has more from Washington.
The seized tanker was transporting about 2 million barrels of oil, valued at north of $80 million. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the U.S. intends to confiscate the oil, calling the ship a sanctioned vessel associated with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard that had apparently been heading towards Cuba.
The president is committed to stopping the illegal flow of drugs into our country. He's also fully committed to effectuating this administration's sanction policy, and that's what you saw and the world saw take place yesterday.
Leavitt says the crew on board the vessel is now being questioned and evidence seized as part of a forfeiture procedure. Venezuela has called the seizure an act of international piracy.
After Ukraine peace talks in London, the French government said it will intensify work on security guarantees and reconstruction. FSN's Stuart Smith reports from London.
The leaders of Europe's three biggest economies say they're keen to help provide the political backing Kyiv needs to get the kind of peace it wants, which means helping Ukraine steady itself against unrelenting pressure from the United States to accept terms Russia will be happy with. The details of the latest negotiations remain secret, but Ukraine's President Zelensky says the surrender of territory and what guarantees can be provided to back up any peace deal are still the most sensitive issues and still unresolved. Ahead of the talks, he said Ukraine can't manage without Europeans, nor can it manage without the Americans.
Hamas said that international mediators must pressure Israel to respect the Gaza ceasefire agreement before the group agrees to move forward into the second phase of the wider peace plan. FSN's Blake Sifton reports from Tel Aviv.
Senior Hamas leader Hussam Badran accused Israel of violating the ceasefire agreement by not opening the Rafah crossing with Egypt and fully increasing the amount of aid entering Gaza, and by continuing to carry out deadly strikes. Israeli authorities also accuse Hamas of violating the agreement and say its strikes in Gaza have been in retaliation for attacks against its soldiers. Israeli forces have killed at least 376 Palestinians since the ceasefire began, according to local health officials. Israel has said it is prepared to open the Rafah crossing for Palestinians to leave Gaza, but not to return.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this
You can help spread the ideas of liberty with our Patreon for just $5 per month at amps.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. And 603-283-6160 is the phone number. That's 603-283-6160. Free Talk Live is brought to you by LibertyMinded.com. Official Free Talk Live gear like t-shirts and hoodies are available at LibertyMinded.com. Plus, you'll find a unique collection of cool and funny, liberty-oriented clothing at LibertyMinded.com. With you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie,
Riley O'Bell,
and Angelo.
And I think we've basically gotten out the whole main point.
So they were going to give him a year in jail.
Well, I don't know if he went to jail or anything, but I think we got out the main points of this thing. The city went after somebody no one wanted, and the city is supposed to work for you. If the city works for you, how are they just doing things that no one wants, no one asked for? You know what I mean? So the rest of the story is tons of stories about people supporting him, people's, their statements on what was happening on this. But basically, while Sioux City leaders had largely stayed mum, they just didn't say anything while they were getting totally fried on the internet. The local Chamber of Commerce was brokering a deal to drop the charges, so they got him a plea deal. It requires Bradshaw to seek approval for any future paintings on city property and to pay court costs. Bradshaw signed it last week, but his attorney was told the next day that the local prosecutor hadn't given approval. On Tuesday...
So how does that work? How do you sign a plea deal that doesn't have proper approval from... Why does that piece of paper even go in front of you?
Apparently the Chamber of Commerce can make a deal. I did not know that. I've never heard of that. So it says on Tuesday, Woodbury County Attorney James Loomis said that the case is still active and that he was optimistic that we can reach some sort of agreeable resolution that involves everybody. And then Bradshaw said it was stupid all around. What's crazy is that it brought so many people together.
So wait, the Chamber of Commerce. Yeah, this is
They're the ones that brokered the deal.
I'm just. Well, is this one of those cities where the Chamber of Commerce holds more power than the mayor does? Because some places are different.
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently Keena's that way. I don't know if it's called the Chamber of Commerce, but the mayor is like weak mayor or whatever.
Yeah, I guess Sarah tries to explain it sometimes when she calls in.
Does she have this? Do they have the same thing in Albuquerque?
No, I think they have a strong mayor, and that's what she likes.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well.
With Tim Keller, she said the name so many times it's pounded into my
I know
head.
it's going to be in our heads forever.
I almost want one of the sweatshirts just to remember it by. I wouldn't wear it in public, but I would just
not if it was already worn by a. No.
Oh yeah, I don't want to. Maybe I can get in touch with the other campaign.
Yeah,
it hasn't gotten past them all out yet.
Yeah.
So, this story Riley brought in, Arkansas becoming the first state to sever ties with PBS effective July 1st.
I love this story because... Is it?
July 1st. Just 7 months from now, or 8. That's all. I was just like, oh, well, that must be a lot of, like, people aren't going to be used to this. So maybe we have to, like, slowly lead them away from the PBS.
Well, they probably also have, like people have jobs that they have to wind down, and there's probably something in their government contracts that's saying, if we're going to terminate you, we have to give you X amount of notice. And so they're like, hey, this is going to be the cutoff date. We're going to start cycling people out, and eventually by July, the studios will be completely wiped.
I like this article because a lot of people on the left say, oh, shouldn't we keep these programs around? They've been so valuable. Well, if they're so valuable, why don't you pay for them? Why are you forcing me to pay for them?
Yeah.
I don't use them.
So
I don't
valuable.
use these services. Why should I be forced to pay for them?
Right. I don't watch the propaganda broadcasts. I don't know what the
if you want something that's quote-unquote public access, create it yourself and see if you can get funding for it. But don't force me to pay for it.
This article doesn't...
I've loved listening to some programs from public radio channels, but, I can't be forced to pay for those programs if I don't want to be forced to pay for those programs.
If there wasn't, the forcing of people to pay for the stuff and a show was good enough, they would just still be on radio without PBS, or whatever else. What does PBS stand for? Public Broadcasting
Service or something like that, yeah.
That sounds right. So, the commission that oversees public television in Arkansas voted Thursday to sever ties with PBS, making it the first state to end its contract with the broadcast giant that provides popular television such as Sesame Street, Nova, and Antiques Roadshow. I've never heard of Nova. Have you guys? Is that a cartoon?
No, but I know about Antiques Roadshow.
Yeah, I've heard of that one. I've never seen it. The 8-member Arkansas... Well, have you seen it? Antiques Roadshow?
Yeah, it's just a show where they travel around and like appraise stuff, and it's like, I have this old teapot, and then they go, well, Gladys, it turns out this teapot is from Revolutionary era France, and it was owned by Marie Antoinette, and your $30 teapot is actually worth $700,000.
That must be a fun show for the propagandists to put out
Even
there.
though that sounds fun and all, it's like...
It's like Pawn
like
Stars.
that.
It's none of it's real.
It's just plenty of stuff like that also exists on, other TV channels that are not public, like, the one where Storage Wars, that's pretty fun because they're
Storage Wars is fun.
You bid for something and it turns out to be expensive. That's really fun.
I'm saying this is good propaganda for the public because it makes them think, oh, maybe I have something that's antique around that I could just sell and get really rich.
I could see that being like a propaganda they want to push, Riley, because it's like,
So you get rid of all your old stuff, you're erasing the history almost.
Exactly.
I see what you're saying. I was thinking more...
Getting rid of family heirlooms, you forget where you come from, who you are.
When you forget your history, you get doomed to repeat it time and time again.
Well, I don't know. People might be selling it to museums and stuff. I think that it could be seen as a stupid way to make people hold on to things and waste money and not actually make money. It's like, if you are not good with money... you don't have as much freedom because you just don't have as much energy paper. Like the energy that you
Yeah.
put into working gets bled out, and therefore you're just wasting your energy when you don't have good money management. And a really common thing for somebody that has like horrible money management to say would be like, oh, I'm holding on to these, they could be worth something, and it's not. You know, like Beanie Babies.
Yeah,
Hate
yeah.
to say it. But yeah, I mean, maybe all of that. But I just feel like if I was gonna try to make people forget their history, I wouldn't make a show about the history. I don't know. In that instance. Oh, but they could also lie to you about what the history is, you know.
Or how much it's worth. It could just not even be real. But I know about Sesame Street. I don't know who doesn't know about Sesame Street.
Yeah.
But I didn't watch that much Sesame Street. I had the Elmo VHS tapes that I had to watch on like one of those small little TVs because that's all we could afford.
Oh,
with
wow.
like the built-in VCR player kind of thing.
I've seen those, but I don't know if we had one with a built-in VCR. I don't remember, but we did watch lots, or not lots, but we watched several Sesame Street things on VHSs, like you're saying.
Yeah.
But we didn't really watch it on TV either. Like, it annoyed my mom. She didn't like it, so... You know, I didn't really love it either. I don't remember ever being like, oh, this is exactly what I want to watch. Even
Elmo
as, like,
was my
little.
guy. I'm sorry. He was.
Really?
Yeah, dude. I had an Elmo themed birthday. Yeah, I loved but specifically the Elmo show,
Mhm.
not
He had
the
some
rest of
more
the
fun,
Sesame Street.
Like,
Mr. Noodle,
bits.
that's my guy.
He had fun things. Is that the worm? No,
yeah,
I like the worm.
The worm or the goldfish. I can't. Dorothy.
Oh, there were fun things in the Elmo show. I didn't care about Elmo himself. I thought he was actually kind of annoying.
I can see that.
But they were all kind of annoying. This is Wormy. He was really cute. He was the... Oh, no, it's called Slimy. The little worm that's orange and yellow. He was so cute every time he popped up out of Oscar's. He would be in there eating Oscar's trash or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't, love the show because of that, though. It's just, if that thing popped up, then I thought that was so cute. But anyways, it's just not that... It's not that important. It didn't... If somebody's really trying to tell me that Sesame Street taught them
Wouldn't
to
get
read.
funded though. Like you're
well,
telling me
there's that.
somebody wouldn't step in to fund. Somebody's gonna come in and fund Sesame Street access in Arkansas. Why the Walmart family, aren't they from Arkansas with their billions and
Yeah.
billions? That why they 100% that
But it
would
doesn't
be
even
something.
have to be Sesame Street is the point. Like, if you really learn to read from Sesame Street, which I find so hard to believe, it's not like an actual reading lesson every episode. But even if you somehow did learn how to read with Sesame Street, YouTube assuredly has better reading lessons for kids that they would watch.
Well,
right
and Sesame Street's just on YouTube now.
now. Mhm.
If it's free, and I guess I don't know a lot of people who use televisions
It's
at all.
not a need. See what I'm saying? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. If you have a television, likely it's a smart TV, and you could.
And
hook
it's
it up
all
to
streamed
YouTube.
anyways. Yeah.
Mhm.
I just think broadcast TV, cable,
Mhm.
that's all of that's going away. So it makes sense, even just as the way without like Trump's budget cuts or whatever, it was on the way out anyways. Just because broadcast television is on the way out, and it's really just being kept afloat by these mega corporations like Comcast and Spectrum that are just trying to. It's dead. Right, I think regular television is dead. Who watches primetime news anymore?
Just
boomers,
people, yeah.
right? And then when they're gone, that's it. It's over. I don't.
Most people get their news from the internet these days.
Yeah, yeah. So, and that means most kids get their entertainment from the internet.
Yep.
And they watch their kid shows on the internet, and they stream Bluey on Disney Plus, and it's just TV's out. So PBS is out because
Which,
it's just
in a
TV
way,
is out.
It makes this even seem like, less great of news than it otherwise would be. Like, it's like, this isn't the middle of, the 90s or something. Maybe that would be like the peak of PBS, and a state is, cutting ties with it. It's already dead and they're cutting ties with it, It's less of an amazing story than...
Yeah, they're sending it off to the
been-
glue factory.
The people have been, milked up from their money for this for way longer than was necessary. It's been not necessary to learn to read from Sesame Street for a very long time. And it's just like, what kind of a need is any kind of television? Seriously. But anyways, they voted to get rid of it. It says the 8-member Arkansas Educational Television Commission, which is like, seriously, there are people with a job called, there's a commission for that. Anyways, made up entirely of appointees of the governor, announced in a news release Thursday that it planned to disaffiliate from PBS effective July 1st, citing annual membership dues of about $2.5 million. It described as not feasible. The release also cited the unexpected loss of about that same amount of federal funding from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which was targeted for closure earlier this year. CPB, what is that something else? Anyways. And it was defunded by Congress. PBS Arkansas is rebranding itself as Arkansas TV and will provide more local content. The agency's executive director, so they're still going to be stealing from people for Arkansas TV, it sounds like?
Yeah, it just sounds like they're cutting ties with the federal, which is good. I think that's a step in the right direction, defederalizing, maybe having the state itself. At least you can have more control of, like, well, the idea is maybe you would have more control, like, with your voting over what the state does with it. Like, because Arkansas could turn around and then now just cut the funding to it if they wanted to. They could put that to a vote and just get rid of it altogether, and it wouldn't have this federal, pimp with unlimited money to fight it.
Wow. So I wanted to look up what Arkansas ranks. And first I wanted to say that I noticed that Iowa, we were talking about, like, we're wondering, so if you want to figure out in your head, and you're from New England, about how free Iowa is, it's only one state freer than Massachusetts.
Oh, wow.
Massachusetts is 32 and Iowa is 31. But
interesting.
I also checked out Arkansas. Arkansas is 10 points freer than Iowa at 21.
I just find it interesting that the state right to the south of us is number 31 on the list?
32.
32 on the list, you said?
Pretty bad.
That is insane.
Somehow worse than
the state
Vermont.
west to us, it's 46.
43 right now.
43. Oh my goodness.
And Maine is 45. Maine and Vermont being worse than Massachusetts kind of surprises me, but maybe not, because I've heard a lot of things that shocked me about.
Who's at 50? California?
50.
Hawaii?
No, New York.
Oh, New York is still.
So then 49 is.
Hawaii.
And then California?
48, yeah.
And then.
California.
Yeah. Remind me to never move to California, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, it's just the whole West Coast. It sounds like the West Coast is in the bottom 10.
Oregon's 47,
states.
so it'd be fourth worst, I think.
So, like, and then where's Washington State?
38, sorry.
Okay, so with it almost in the top 10. The worst 10
region,
states. Yeah, the worst region is the Pacific Northwest.
Well, if you get to count Alaska, which
Coast.
I think you do, Alaska's 17, so that brings you way up your average. I still think it might be the worst region. Maybe New England can't be the worst because New Hampshire is number 1. This is all according to freedomin50states.org from Cato Institute. So maybe take it with a grain of salt if you think that these aren't exactly correct, but they explain exactly why they say what they say, and it all checks out in my opinion. But Arkansas, I wanted to see what it is for fiscal. When you click on fiscal, Arkansas is 30. And when you click on, I meant to say economic, Arkansas is 21 still. When you click on personal, Arkansas is 44, so pretty bad there.
Gosh, why? Is it the drug laws? I think they probably have pretty strict drug laws in Arkansas. Way down there in the... Is Arkansas considered the South still? I think it's the Deep South.
So for... I would say it is the South. I don't know when you say deep. I don't know that people say that. I don't know.
Not as deep as like Louisiana?
In Alabama, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Maybe it is, though. I could be wrong. So... we're going to skip fiscal and regulatory for Arkansas. It says personal. This is, the Cato Institute's recommendations for what could make Arkansas more free. Enact criminal justice reforms to remove mandatory minimum sentences, reduce maximum sentences, and remove driver's license forfeitures for non-driving related offenses. Wow. That's pretty bad if you're getting your license taken away for doing something that has nothing to do with driving. Wow. So, just like I don't want to read as much as I read about it before, but marijuana laws are largely unreformed, although voters did pass a medical marijuana initiative in 2016. So they're just bad on marijuana. Arkansas passed universal school choice, which will significantly increase its personal freedom score, like in their next time they come out with this. which I don't know when that is. They did the most recent one, I think 2023, so maybe it's this year that they come out with it, or 2026 that they come out with a new one?
Every 3 years.
Something like
maybe,
that.
yeah, that could make sense. Or maybe they do it every 4 years, like on a cycle.
It says that this is actually based on the overall freedom rankings as of year-end 2022.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm so interested if they're going to come out with another one next year. Like, you know, based on year-end 2025. That'd be great. But, yeah, so we were reading about Arkansas. That's the only reason I brought it up. It says, public television in Arkansas is not going away. In fact, we invite you to join our vision for an increased focus on local programming, continuing to safeguard Arkansas in times of emergency and supporting our K-12 educators and students. Honestly, I wouldn't even be against New Hampshire doing that. Maybe it's not what I want, like, the state reps, like, really focusing on, but if they got rid of it, the federal PBS, and only focused on local, it would get people's minds more focused on local than federal things, and, you know, get people more likely to be on board with NH Exit.
I quite agree, because we have an opportunity here in New Hampshire to tell people that we would love to have a peaceful conversation about secession. And if we use that, we have a clear way to propagandize people to more liberty.
This is pretty stupid. So there's a second article written after the one that we just read. It says, after backlash, Alabama Public Television will keep paying for PBS.
Huh.
I didn't realize that our thing wasn't the most updated one.
Or no, you said Arkansas or Alabama?
Oh, yeah, my bad. Just mix those. Did I say Alabama when I read it? Because my brain was saying Arkansas.
So does it say, so Arkansas will keep paying for PBS?
No, it's Alabama. I thought that we accidentally read an old article and this was the update.
Oh, okay.
But I was wrong because even though I said the word Alabama, literally my brain was thinking Arkansas. I was thinking it was an update.
That's funny.
But
you must have been thinking about your family.
No, I was actually the opposite. I was thinking about Arkansas.
Oh, okay.
So in this article, apparently they were actually considering getting rid of PBS like Arkansas. There's a stupid sign someone's holding up with an Elmo doll glued to it that says, Elmo is not the enemy of the people. Ridiculous. Some people are just ridiculous human beings, seriously. It says, facing public backlash, the commission that oversees Alabama Public Television voted Tuesday to continue paying its contract with PBS, rejecting an effort, at least for now, to be the first state to cut ties, now we know it's Arkansas, with a broadcast giant because of politics and federal budget cuts.
For how much? How much are they paying them?
Probably
how much is Alabama losing?
$2.5
million?
Wasn't it 2.5 for Arkansas?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Imagine you pay taxes in Alabama and people just said, well, Elmo's not the enemy of the people, and they're just wasting $2 million. Insane. The Alabama Educational Television Commission voted without dissent to honor the contract with PBS that runs until July. The commission also, and that answers our question about the other one, about why it goes till July, a contract. The commission also voted to create a committee to explore the direction of Alabama Public Television. A motion to give the required 180-day non-renewal notice, the first step to cutting ties with PBS, failed for a lack of a second. The decision means PBS programming, which includes programs such as Sesame Street, Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, Antiques Roadshow, and PBS News Hour, will remain on the state channel at least for the immediate future. 2 commission members last month had floated the idea of severing ties with PBS, citing federal budget cuts to public broadcasting and accusations by President Donald Trump and other conservatives of bias in news programs. Just accusations.
Well, that's just the nature of the beast, is that if it's funded by tax dollars, then it's going to vote to increase the amount of money it gets because it doesn't make any money. It's just a money sink, so they always just want more. Of course, they're going to come out in favor of more money to them, right? They're going to be biased. So I don't think it's accusations. That's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah. I'm sure that PBS would accuse RT, Russia's state news organization, of being biased.
Of course they would. And Russia Today is biased.
Is it Russia Today? Yeah, I couldn't remember when I started saying that. It says the possibility of dropping PBS prompted a backlash from Alabama public television viewers and donors. Not donating enough because
Alabama?
your neighbors are still being stolen from. Yeah, did I say Arkansas again?
You said Alabama.
Oh yeah, it's Alabama.
Okay.
But
I just want to be clear.
Yes. This whole article has been about Alabama this time. Sorry to confuse people. It says carrying signs reading Save PBS, and Elmo says don't be mean to Alabama children. You can literally watch Arthur and Elmo on the internet now. You can literally stream it on things. You can literally watch it on...
How many years of Sesame Street are there?
I watched a whole episode of Arthur on...
Why don't they let the kids play
Sounds
and
weird.
make up their own games?
Well, no, I'm just thinking about, like...
Imagine things.
There's been Sesame Street for 30 straight years of them making new episodes.
It's no one's favorite thing.
Thousands of hours of Sesame Street episodes
sure
that you
there's
could
an
stream
internet archive
online.
of it somewhere that
That's
you
what
can
I'm
find.
saying. Like, there's already thousands and thousands of hours of Sesame Street that you can just go
Or better
access
yet,
if
or
you want to
better
go
yet,
watch it.
Let kids play. Let kids have an imagination.
Like kids go on any of the millions of free educational sites on the internet. Or videos even on YouTube. I'm sure there are
But
literally
no, we got to
over
worry about
millions.
Sesame Street.
Like coolmathgames.com.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Literally.
Cool Math Games. Great site.
Yes, I've played that in school when we were bored. I don't think I played really anything educational. I was playing
Well, that was the whole point, is you told your mom you were getting on Cool Math Games, and then it was a bunch of flash games that had nothing to do with education.
maybe some people were playing ones that actually had like education and fun in them, because it's not that it's impossible. There were Neopets games that involved like math that were fun that I remember playing. But the thing is, like, especially for watching videos, there's absolutely enough free content on the internet.
Khan Academy, that's a great one.
To teach your kid to read, at the very least. And I've never heard anybody claim anything else about Sesame Street, like what else it teaches you. I have heard people claim Sesame Street taught them how to read. I just don't really believe them. More Free Talk Live coming up, 603-283-6160 to bring up whatever's on your mind. Don't go anywhere. More Free Talk Live coming up.
This hour of Free Talk Live is brought to you by Dash Digital Cash. Dash is the cryptocurrency designed to be used for spending. Tired of the ever-inflating US dollar? You can live your life on Dash instead with some handy websites. BitRefill.com has been accepting Dash for years and has a ton of big-name retailers and brands, including grocers, gas stations, phone refills, Amazon, and even prepaid MasterCards. Plus, many of their gift cards are available at a discount. But what about paying your bills? Spritz.finance can do that, and they can send dollars to your bank account in case you still need those for some reason. Dash is one of the oldest cryptocurrencies and is widely available on exchanges, including the decentralized Maya protocol, and in multi-crypto wallets. It's easy to get and use Dash. Start by learning more at Dash.org. Thanks to the Dash DAO for sending us 32 Dash per month to promote Dash on the air. Visit Dash.org to learn about Dash. Dash.org. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. The U.S. intends to confiscate the oil that was on board a tanker seized off the Venezuelan coast on Wednesday, saying it was tied to the black market and used to fund narco-terrorism. Wednesday's dramatic interception, with the U.S. military rappelling off a helicopter onto the ship, has escalated tensions between Washington and Caracas. FSN's Tony Waterman has more from Washington.
The seized tanker was transporting about 2 million barrels of oil, valued at north of $80 million. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the U.S. intends to confiscate the oil, calling the ship a sanctioned vessel associated with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard that had apparently been heading towards Cuba.
The president is committed to stopping the illegal flow of drugs into our country. He's also fully committed to effectuating this administration's sanction policy, and that's what you saw and the world saw take place yesterday.
Leavitt says the crew on board the vessel is now being questioned and evidence seized as part of a forfeiture procedure. Venezuela has called the seizure an act of international piracy.
After Ukraine peace talks in London, the French government said it will intensify work on security guarantees and reconstruction. FSN's Stuart Smith reports from London.
The leaders of Europe's three biggest economies say they're keen to help provide the political backing Kyiv needs to get the kind of peace it wants, which means helping Ukraine steady itself against unrelenting pressure from the United States to accept terms Russia will be happy with. The details of the latest negotiations remain secret, but Ukraine's President Zelensky says the surrender of territory and what guarantees can be provided to back up any peace deal are still the most sensitive issues and still unresolved. Ahead of the talks, he said Ukraine can't manage without Europeans, nor can it manage without the Americans.
Hamas said that international mediators must pressure Israel to respect the Gaza ceasefire agreement before the group agrees to move forward into the second phase of the wider peace plan. FSN's Blake Sifton reports from Tel Aviv.
Senior Hamas leader Hussam Badran accused Israel of violating the ceasefire agreement by not opening the Rafah crossing with Egypt and fully increasing the amount of aid entering Gaza, and by continuing to carry out deadly strikes. Israeli authorities also accuse Hamas of violating the agreement and say its strikes in Gaza have been in retaliation for attacks against its soldiers. Israeli forces have killed at least 376 Palestinians since the ceasefire began, according to local health officials. Israel has said it is prepared to open the Rafah crossing for Palestinians to leave Gaza, but not to return.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN. The United States is seeking to vet the social media accounts of all tourists as a requirement for entering the country. It's part of the Trump administration's wider crackdown on immigration, as Jagruti Dave reports from Washington.
US Customs and Border Protection have published a 60-day notice and request for comments on proposed changes to their visa waiver program. The changes include a requirement for ESTA applicants to provide their social media from the last 5 years. They're also asking for other information such as email addresses and telephone numbers used in the last 5 years, as well as the names, addresses, numbers and birthdays of family members. Donald Trump has overseen a crackdown on immigration in his second term. The CBP proposal cites a presidential executive order aimed at protecting the United States from foreign terrorists.
U.S. President Trump announced that he will allow AI chip giant NVIDIA to sell its advanced H200 chips to approved customers in China. The decision comes after extensive lobbying by NVIDIA boss Jensen Huang, who visited Washington last week to drum up support. FSN's Laura Westbrook reports.
The decision to grant NVIDIA permission to ship its second most powerful chip to China in exchange for a 25% surcharge caps weeks of deliberations. US President Donald Trump reportedly said he informed President Xi Jinping about the move and that President Xi had responded favorably. The move is a victory for NVIDIA in its push to get Trump and Congress to relax export controls that have kept the company from selling its AI chips to the world's largest semiconductor arena. But experts say easing restrictions on the H200 and similar grade chips risks giving an edge to Chinese companies like DeepSeek that compete with the US.
That was a look back at some of the week's top stories. Ira Spitzer reports.
5-Hour Energy CEO Manoj Bhargava claimed this week that the 13 deaths associated with his product were just collateral damage in his company's ongoing war against that 230 feeling. Quote, "We honor the sacrifice of all those who have fallen. I wish we could live in a world where you could get a spike of energy and no crash and not die. But that's not the world we live in." Passionate supporters have flooded social media, demonstrating the terrifying costs of midday drowsiness and fatigue, with consumers saying that when it comes to extra alertness in the mid-afternoon, they are willing to pay any price.
As the wife of a 5-hour energy drinker, we've had to sacrifice a lot in the name of long-lasting bursts of energy that carry you out of the workday and into the evening. We knew the risks going in.
Bhargava says his company has no plans to stop until the 230 feeling is completely wiped off the map, at which point they will turn their attention to that 330 feeling, 430 feeling, and people with a case of the Mondays.
This is the Onion News Network.
Yep, we still do email. Drop your email address in the entry box at freetalklive.com, and you'll be kept in the loop with Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160 is the phone number you can call right now to bring up whatever is on your mind. And you can change the subject. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. You can tell us we're wrong. You can tell us we don't know what we're talking about. It doesn't matter because it's Free Talk Live, and that's the point. With you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie,
Riley O'Bill,
and Angelo. I actually just saw something on the break that I thought was interesting. Do you guys remember at that No Kings protest that they had a couple of months ago?
I remember hearing about it.
There was that one in Salt Lake City where that guy got shot.
Over the summer?
Yeah, over the summer. And it was, the guy was open carrying at the protest, and one of the people who were hired as security for the No Kings protest saw this guy legally opening carrying his firearm and just open fired on the crowd, striking the guy just open carrying and another protester, and ended up killing the protester. And they ended up arresting the guy who was just carrying, right? Not the person who shot at everybody, but they arrested the guy who got shot at and then charged him with the murder of the dude.
Salt Lake is definitely a leftist haven in Utah. It is interesting that Utah is largely conservative, except for Salt Lake area.
Well, but these were two leftists shooting at each other, and they arrested the guy who got shot instead of the shooter.
The guy who was just open carrying was a leftist?
Yeah, he was there for the No Kings rally. He's anti Donald Trump, and he's anti-ICE, so he was there in support of. But the people, the organizers had hired as security, open fired on him, even though he wasn't breaking any rules or laws, and ended up killing a bystander. And they tried to charge the man, the innocent, the guy who was just open carrying, the unaffiliated man with a gun. The Salt Lake City charged him with the death of the bystander, even though he had never fired a shot. And there's this, they were trying to
get rid of that charge.
Yeah, they just switched it. I just saw the update 8 hours ago that they said that they were going to drop the charges against the guy who didn't hurt anybody and actually press charges against the guy who did. But that's ridiculous that this guy had to have that over his head, a murder charge when he did nothing, literally nothing wrong. And they were going to try to pin the death of this innocent man on him and send him to jail for like 6 months. You know, he was locked up.
Also, I honestly can say I had nearly completely forgotten that story, like memory hold.
Yeah, no, I just saw the update and I was like, yeah, oh gosh, I can't believe I just chopped it up to the government was going to railroad him and throw him in prison, and that's what they do. Exactly. That's what they do to people. You're going to hear about it and go, hey, that's wrong. And then they're going to do it anyways, regardless of what we have to say about it. And then hopefully you'll just forget about it. But this guy, it seems like this guy is getting justice. Maybe he's not going to get justice for the half a year of his life that he just lost, or the ruining of his, what he thought is normal with this whole debacle, because he'll now be known as that guy. I don't think you ever get that kind of, he won't get normal back, that's for sure. But at least he's not going to spend the rest of his life in prison for a crime he didn't commit.
Yep. It really does suck that you don't get any retribution for getting stuck in jail when they're just investigating you and it takes freaking 6 months or whatever. Awful.
Well, but there was a video. They had a video of what happened, and they still kept him for that long.
You know that's what they'd say, though. They're like, well, this is under investigation. We're investigating. Whether it makes sense or not. They just have their stupid words they use. But that is a really good update, luckily.
So I guess some good news. I maybe not good news, but at least somebody's not going to... Well,
it's good news.
Yeah, an innocent man gets to go free, which is good.
I saw something during the break, not really newsworthy. Well, sorry, it's newsworthy. It's just not really much for us to talk about is really what I meant. That there was just another school shooting at Brown University, I guess.
Yep. I saw that headline before coming to the show and figured we should open with it, but here we are talking about it later in the show.
I think that's Texas, right? Am I wrong?
At Brown? I thought, isn't Brown one of the Ivy League schools?
I have no idea. I just know it's a famous college.
Oh, Rhode Island.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Rhode Island. Isn't Rhode Island super strict on their guns, though?
Yes. So
how did that happen?
How could a state like Rhode Island get a gun there?
And aren't they so connected just to super strict gun places like Connecticut and Massachusetts? Like, how did anybody get a gun through all those states into a gun-free place like Rhode Island?
I have something hilarious to admit. I was like, which one was the one I was mixing up with in Texas? And it's rice. And could it possibly be because I'm thinking brown rice? Could that possibly be
That's funny.
I've always thought funny.
Rice University is a weird name. I'm not like up to date on all the college names. I don't normally care. But yeah, it's a highly controlled area for normal people to be allowed to own guns, like people that aren't just the cops to own guns. And yet someone went there and shot someone on probably a gun-free zone as well, the campus. More than probably.
Is there more? Is that all you have on it? There's no like name of the guy, or
no? 2 people were shot. I mean, it's not really typically a free talk
2
live
people
topic.
were shot?
Like 2 people were killed. I don't know how many were shot.
Well, that's just.
It's like what is there to talk about? We have covered this story so many times.
I agree.
Somebody, probably a Fed, went and killed people so that way they can get people to say we need gun control.
What more gun control do they need in Rhode Island? In Massachusetts,
that's always the main thing.
I just don't.
This is my theory. I'm not saying this is a fact, but my theory is that they don't do many of these false flag school shootings in places like New Hampshire because it's too risky. Like their guy can get shot by somebody open carry.
I know. That's why we love open carry here.
I love it. I love it so much. It's like the reason that New Hampshire didn't close down so much as the rest of the country. It's the reason that America didn't close down so much as the rest of the world, because we actually cannot be pushed to complete tyranny right now in America. It's the only reason.
Yeah, and someone even someone like me, I could exist here in New Hampshire open carrying and probably no one's going to stop me.
No one's going to stop you. No one legally could. So
I mean, I might personally have some questions for you, Riley. I'm not going to stop you.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to be like, you sure you know what you're doing with that? You know where it's going?
Riley's shot before.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't doubt that he has.
I wonder if there's
I could understand the concern that, if you see me carrying a pistol around, you might be concerned that I might not know how to use it.
An empty pistol with a magazine in it so no one else knows keeps Riley safe just by being on his hip.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's probably tactics people have for like.
No, he can do it. I just mean me personally. I'd be like, hey, bro.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying you're saying it's illegal, but
yeah.
He can own a thing. If he's not currently pointing it at people, then I don't see how it's unjustified. The other day I dropped my gun in public because I actually was trying to use my holster for the first time, and I had it on backwards. But
oh no!
This is why I took a walk with my gun without the magazine even in it.
Well, that's smart training.
Yeah,
you went
exactly.
on a training walk.
Training myself,
Yeah,
and I did not realize that the way that I put it on is it was actually supposed to go kind of like where the gun is in your pants. I didn't realize that.
Is it inside the waistband and you had it outside the waistband?
Exactly, and I had it outside. And I was like, how is that normal that it would fall when I just like took a couple steps? That's really bad. And then I realized later I was wearing it wrong. So it seemed just as comfortable inside the waistband. So I'm happy about that. The only thing is like I have to wear jeans every time I do that. Like I don't want to wear jeans all the time. I don't wear jeans all the time.
You know, they sell like
purses and
well,
stuff.
no, like body spandex bodysuits almost that has like a pouch that you can wear leggings and still.
Even then, it's like I don't love that. I haven't seen anything that seems like a perfect thing for me. My friend wants me to try this. I can pull it up for you later. I don't remember exactly how it works right now. That my friend has one that he thinks will work for me. He sent me a video on how to use it and everything, and I don't know. We'll just see. I felt totally comfortable carrying that, as in comfortable like when I took a step, it didn't hurt me or anything like that. Once I got it put in correctly, and then I was just walking around the house, and still without a magazine, so it's like cheap or lighter and everything. But,
yeah. You should get
just only the jeans and a belt.
I guess that could be an idea for Christmas from me and Elspeth for you. We get some dummy rounds for you that you can put in there, and so you can feel the weight, but you don't have to worry about having live ammunition.
That'd be really nice.
And then you can actually sit there and like play around with it and run the slide and like they're dummy rounds, so you get more of a feel for the weight.
Did they actually like come out of the hole? Like if you were to like click shoot?
No. It's literally just like a little. It looks like the bullet, but it's just like a piece of metal that's shaped like.
But what happens to it when you?
Nothing.
Shoot?
There's nothing in the back. You just put it in the magazine, and then it just sits in the magazine, and it'll load into the gun.
But what if you decide to go like that? And
it'll just pull the primer. There's a hole in the back, so the primer doesn't hit anything. There's nothing for the firing pin to hit, so it's all inert. There's no gunpowder. Yeah. It just mimics the size and weight of the round. Right? It's like a training tool.
Yeah, I just wondered what happens.
Is.
Like,
it doesn't hurt your gun. It doesn't. Nothing flies out. It doesn't break your gun. A lot of people recommend it. A lot of the gun YouTube guys shill it. Yeah, it's a great training tool. Like a good dry fire. Something you can. It's a training tool. I don't know how else to put it.
One thing I definitely feel is like the hardest thing with a gun is I had no idea it was this hard, but I also a couple people told me they think mine is crazy tight. I have 2 magazines, and you go to put the bullet in, and it's like you get 3 in, and then the 4th one is just like, dang, like this is so hard to push it down.
Just like a tight spring in your mag.
And I have 2 of them. They're both like that, and like. Men were helping me. They're like, no, this actually, like, they just thought it was just me. And I handed it over to one of them. And they're like, no, this actually is like crazy. Like, so I wonder if I just need new ones. Like, both of them are like that.
Well, you could try like a different, if you wanted to get, maybe just buy different ones.
Yeah.
Or I know there's ways you can just like take them apart and put a different spring in. And
maybe that's what it needs. Because
a lighter spring if you wanted
that seems
one.
like literally a deterrent, because it's like if I needed to quickly do something, like I can never quickly do that. Maybe like 1 or 2, but
I think one of the reasons I know one of the reasons the springs are so tight is that it makes sure that the bullet is all the way up the feed ramp as the gun cycles, because it needs that force to drive the next bullet in line.
That makes sense.
Up, because it's in the handle, right? So it's got to feed all the way up into the firing chamber.
That makes sense.
And they get not weaker, but they'll loosen up over time. So I guess maybe just.
And that's what other people are saying, like they'll loosen up over time. So maybe I don't need anything, but this is pretty interesting to me, and listeners will know I like this kind of thing. This is from Daily Mail, dailymail.co.uk, but now that I think of it...
Another reputable news source.
Yeah, but now that I think of it, which government are they talking about? If this is a UK website, it says, government intelligence officer assigned to secret UFO investigation said wolf-like creature that walked on 2 legs appeared at his East Coast home after he worked at that.
Huh. Interesting.
A rocket scientist who, what were we going to say?
I was just thinking Wendigo.
They have a different word for this thing in...
But he said East Coast home? This sounds like, this is dailymail.uk or dailymail.us?
It's .uk, but I don't know that means they're talking about the UK. It could be US, but they have a different word for it in Michigan. It's dog man, maybe. But they have many stories about, I think it's dog man, yeah. So that's the only thing I've heard of. A Wendigo, like I've heard of that looking like a little like a feral dog, but like messed up looking and on two legs. I've never heard of it walking on two legs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you're just thinking?
Well, I think they're supposed to be like, Skinwalker. Isn't a Wendigo a Skinwalker? Isn't that the name?
I don't know if they're the same, honestly. I've only ever heard Skinwalker as far as Skinwalker. Like if there's another name for it, like the Native American have their own name for it, I don't know what that is. Wendigo, I swear, I thought that was like more Mexican. Oh, am I thinking of, what's the Mexican
Chupacabra?
one? Yeah, I'm thinking of Chupacabra. That's why I was like, I've never heard that walking. But let's see. It says a rocket scientist who directed a top secret investigation into UFOs has spoken about the bizarre things his colleagues claim to have witnessed. Dr. James Lakatsky, an intelligence analyst previously with the Defense Intelligence Agency, so
DIA.
Is this United States, though? Revealed that during his time investigating UFOs, many witnesses recalled paranormal experiences after seeing the objects. He says, "We've realized that people who openly say, 'I observed a UFO up close,' maybe on the ground that they always seem to have a paranormal connection in some ways. His sentence makes no sense. Anyways. We realize that people who openly say, 'I observed a UFO up close,' maybe on the ground, that they always seem to have a paranormal connection in some ways." Okay, he means maybe on the ground. I thought he was saying, okay. They saw a UFO on the ground, like landed? Okay. Anyways, if you gently push them, they will reveal that they have a paranormal connection in some ways to begin with. And that's what he told investigative journalist George Knapp in recent interview with local CBS affiliate KLAS.
So that sounds like American. CBS affiliate?
Yeah, that's a good point. It says, Lakatsky directed the Advanced Aerospace Weapons System Applications Program, a top-secret initiative under the DIA in the 2000s. He recalled that many officials with the AAWSAP experienced a hitchhiker effect where they seemed to come into contact with paranormal phenomena long after they left the program's home base in Nevada.
Oh, so it is American. And that's where Wendigo Ranch is in Nevada.
Oh, wow.
Skinwalker Ranch.
It's so weird, though, that I've never heard of Wendigo and Skinwalker being the same word. Just gotta say.
Really?
I think it's something else.
No,
I think
I'm...
But I also gotta say that he saw the dog man type thing on the East Coast anyway. Remember, in this East Coast home. But also, I also gotta say, it's so weird how like the people in every other country will just be like, government said, and they're talking about America. It's like, don't you have to, or do you guys just think about America that often? It's kind of funny.
That is kind of funny, yeah.
So Lakatsky said that at least 5 highly experienced intelligence officers saw balls of light, shadowy figures, and even creepy creatures. One investigator was plagued by mysterious orbs when he returned to his home on the East Coast. I wish they would say where, and not just on the East Coast. Like, that means so much, you know. And even saw what he described as one investigator. So, this isn't Lakatsky. And even saw what he described as a wolf-like creature that walked on 2 legs, according to Lakatsky. I mean, what did it get? What? Did it get on a train or a plane to come to Washington? So, apparently, D.C., Lakatsky said. It left deep scratch marks on the tree it was resting against. There was physical evidence. It was just resting against a tree and left scratch marks. Even that is very strange. Maybe it like has some kind of like a radiation or something, you know, or not radiation necessarily, but you know, something like that. The AAWSAP launched in 2008 after officials at DIA became intrigued by reported paranormal experiences and UFO sightings in the Uinta Basin in northeastern Utah. They determined that Bigelow Ranch, owned by Las Vegas aerospace titan Robert Bigelow, was a site of bizarre activity. Is that Wendigo Ranch the same thing? Or like, is that...
It might be. I'm not sure. I can look into it. Keep talking.
I could see from my organization the threat potential, and we were uncovering many of the things you were observing, strange creatures, Lakatsky told KLAS. I mean, think of inducing what might be called delusions by some people into an enemy force. We wanted to learn what can be weaponized here, he continued. That's weird. Lakatsky put together a team approved by DIA with his colleague Jay Stratton. I wonder who was inducing delusions into the United States' forces in Iraq when they say, like, there are United States, like, army and military personnel who say they fought giants in Iraq.
I told you about the giants in Nevada, right?
What do you mean you told me about?
The cave in the cave that I stopped at that supposedly had a race of giants that lived in it in Nevada.
That's funny because, in Iraq, the soldiers, like, fighting, like, the
the Kandahar giants.
Is that the Iraqi one?
Yeah, the Kandahar province.
Yeah, they said that they were fighting, like, one-eyed giants and stuff like that lived in caves.
Yeah. There are a lot of giant tales all over the world, it seems.
Yeah, there are. So who was, I'm just saying, because he's talking about weaponizing delusions of people seeing these things.
Huh.
Because, of course, that's what a person based in nothing but materialism would say, like, oh, this has to be delusions. Let's see how we can induce them into people to fight them and kill them during war. But anyways, obviously it's not all delusions, but that was kind of a joke when I said, oh, I wonder who's inducing the delusions into our people then. But anyways, we wanted to learn what can be weaponized here, he continued. Did you find out, was it Wendigo Ranch?
Yeah, the Bigelow place? Yeah.
Lakatsky put together a team approved by DIA with his colleague Jay Stratton. Late Nevada Senator Harry Reid helped secure the funding for the project. Bigelow has also become an integral part of the initiative, with his company becoming the program's contractor. The mission started as an investigation into UFO technology. I wonder what his company, does with this contractor work. Like, how do you investigate UFO with a, contractor company? What do they do? Maybe they're, tour guide people, maybe. I don't know. The mission started as an investigation into UFO technology, but officials were also examining potential health impacts on witnesses who reported seeing UFOs. The health impacts included psychological effects, and the AAWSAP started to observe a wide range of shocking, seemingly paranormal instances that witnesses to UFOs began having. When I saw a UFO, Ellsworth and I, our friend Matt, who has seen many UFOs, it was the first person we went directly to go tell about it, and he said, well, get prepared now, because it's when you see one, it just opens the floodgates for stuff. It doesn't end after that.
That's an interesting thought. I mean, how many UFO sightings have there been because people have been primed by them now?
Oh, okay. So how it worked was that Robert Bigelow sold the property to a real estate company. The real estate company built a bunch of fences around it, put in a bunch of security, and then he still does his quote-unquote research on the property.
More Free Talk Live coming up. 603-283-6160 is the number. That's 603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live coming up. Bring up whatever's on your mind. What do you think about this? What do you think about the government spending its money on, or your money on this? More Free Talk Live coming up. Don't go anywhere. It's Free Talk Live.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp, is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
You can help more people hear the message of liberty by joining Free Talk Live's AMPS program on Patreon for as little as $5 a month. And you'll get access to special perks. Visit amps.freetalklive.com, amps.freetalklive.com.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. The U.S. intends to confiscate the oil that was on board a tanker seized off the Venezuelan coast on Wednesday, saying it was tied to the black market and used to fund narco-terrorism. Wednesday's dramatic interception, with the U.S. military rappelling off a helicopter onto the ship, has escalated tensions between Washington and Caracas. FSN's Tony Waterman has more from Washington.
The seized tanker was transporting about 2 million barrels of oil, valued at north of $80 million. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the U.S. intends to confiscate the oil, calling the ship a sanctioned vessel associated with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard that had apparently been heading towards Cuba.
The president is committed to stopping the illegal flow of drugs into our country. He's also fully committed to effectuating this administration's sanction policy, and that's what you saw and the world saw take place yesterday.
Leavitt says the crew on board the vessel is now being questioned and evidence seized as part of a forfeiture procedure. Venezuela has called the seizure an act of international piracy.
After Ukraine peace talks in London, the French government said it will intensify work on security guarantees and reconstruction. FSN's Stuart Smith reports from London.
The leaders of Europe's three biggest economies say they're keen to help provide the political backing Kyiv needs to get the kind of peace it wants, which means helping Ukraine steady itself against unrelenting pressure from the United States to accept terms Russia will be happy with. The details of the latest negotiations remain secret, but Ukraine's President Zelensky says the surrender of territory and what guarantees can be provided to back up any peace deal are still the most sensitive issues and still unresolved. Ahead of the talks, he said Ukraine can't manage without Europeans, nor can it manage without the Americans.
Hamas said that international mediators must pressure Israel to respect the Gaza ceasefire agreement before the group agrees to move forward into the second phase of the wider peace plan. FSN's Blake Sifton reports from Tel Aviv.
Senior Hamas leader Hussam Badran accused Israel of violating the ceasefire agreement by not opening the Rafah crossing with Egypt and fully increasing the amount of aid entering Gaza, and by continuing to carry out deadly strikes. Israeli authorities also accuse Hamas of violating the agreement and say its strikes in Gaza have been in retaliation for attacks against its soldiers. Israeli forces have killed at least 376 Palestinians since the ceasefire began, according to local health officials. Israel has said it is prepared to open the Rafah crossing for Palestinians to leave Gaza, but not to return.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this
Got Telegram? You can follow our channel there and discuss show prep with other listeners at telegram.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and 603-283-6160 is the phone number. That's 603-283-6160. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie,
Riley O'Bill,
and Angelo.
And you can call in and bring up whatever is on your mind. That's the point of Free Talk Live. And so before the end of the last segment, we were talking about this story that a government official who was taking part in a secret mission in 2008, I think it was, the early 2000s, he said that after going out into Nevada and researching UFOs and the psychological effects they had on people with the Defense Intelligence Agency, after that, when he returned home to the East Coast, I think he implied it was Washington, D.C., he even saw a wolf human-like creature walking on two legs that came up and was leaning against a tree in his yard and left marks on it. And that's really interesting to me. Another interesting part of it is that he says that they observed a wide range of shocking, seemingly paranormal instances that witnesses of UFOs began to have. So, really interesting stuff to me, but I don't know if there's much else that's really interesting to me here. That part is very interesting, but after that, they just started talking about, like, oh, how the their thing went, what you want to call it, their research and everything. It's not anything interesting about the research. It's just like the AAWSAP, which I don't remember what it stood for anymore. That was the name of their secret mission or whatever you want to call it. It existed for only about 2 years before funding was paused. Lukatsky told KLAS in November that Reid was worried about his re-election race in 2010 and was concerned that his involvement in the project would impact his chances of winning. Reid also confided to Lukatsky that there was a spy in his Washington office leaking information to help his opponent win, according to Lukatsky's account to KLAS. Reid ended up securing a victory but lost his seat as a Senate Majority Leader, and the program eventually just fizzled out. Yeah, just boring government stuff. It says...
What was the name of the program all the way?
The Advanced Aerospace Weapon System Applications Program.
So that just sounds like they're trying to reverse engineer UFOs.
Well, what they meant by weapon application was that they wanted to see how they could weaponize even just the seeing of UFOs, like how they could weaponize messing with people's brains.
How they can
war.
psyop it.
Mm-hmm. And if you think about it, they were studying that, and maybe not during war, but they were psyoping people just earlier this year. No. Earlier this year in New Jersey, when they were saying that there were UFOs going around.
Oh, and they were just those big drones?
And it ended up being the government, and nothing ever came of it. It was actually really scaring people.
Yeah.
Probably just studying how people reacted on TikTok. It says the government has not officially released any documents related to the program. Wow, I figured it just got declassified, But Lukatsky has authored several books on the topic, including Skinwalkers at the Pentagon. Wow, now I kind of want to read that.
Yeah.
Co-authored with George Knapp. Lukatsky released another book on his own in September titled Inside the U.S. Government Covert UFO Program, New Insights, which revealed multiple paranormal phenomena in the AAWSAP team that the AAWSAP team experienced. So, I don't know, I really like that story. I mean, it sounds funny because it's like, I like the story that the government stole your money to go try to study how they can weaponize UFOs. Well, I like that he's speaking out. Or
weaponize skinwalkers.
Yeah, creepy
too.
stuff. And, it's like, Skinwalker became a, mainstream, everybody knew that word thing in just the last several years. It's, so popular on YouTube and TikTok.
Yeah, well, because I think it got memed. It got memed into existence.
Maybe
meme
that was on
warfare.
purpose.
Yeah, I think the CIA cracked the meme code. I don't like the Rare Vance meme, the JD Vance memes.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all that was made popular by the feds. That wasn't that's not a natty meme.
I think we really
that's
just uncovered
juiced
something
meme.
Because we just happen to be people that watch Sam Colby. Maybe you don't all the time anymore, and I don't all the time anymore either. But when I moved from Texas to Utah in 2013, when I lived in Texas, I loved spooky stories. I loved being on the internet and looking at conspiracies that most people my age didn't know about how to get onto these websites and read about. And yet I still didn't know the word skinwalker till I moved to Utah. I'm just saying, it wasn't like everybody knows that word, says it, and they have this I don't say that, I say flesh pedestrians and stuff like that type of thing, because they're they know that the government or maybe I shouldn't be doing it, but they know that the natives say not to say it. But then again, that's not the real Native American word for it, so it's probably fine. Anyways, so, and I Google it, it's not Wendigo. That's something different. One is Algonquin and one's Navajo, but also it seems like they're described differently.
Okay.
But
so what is a Wendigo?
A Wendigo it's like a animal type thing that is emaciated and skin falling off and stuff like that, and it was something that was cursed apparently, but it's a living thing. or like a spiritual living thing. I don't know. And then a skinwalker used to be a person, according to their legends. I didn't realize that it was necessarily true. Like, I had heard of people talking about how, oh, so-and-so did a ritual to become a skinwalker, but I didn't know that was like the definition of one. So a human became basically like a witch and can now turn into nasty looking animals, and it says sometimes to gain a new animal they can transform into, they have to wear its pelt. So gross.
Interesting.
But here's what I'm trying to say basically. I feel like they spread that because they learned in this thing, AAWSAP, how they can psychologically harm people with it, with the knowledge of it even.
Maybe so. Maybe talking about it, maybe the natives were right in talking about it. It's no good.
Yeah, that's a good point. Really, really creepy stuff. So, this story from the Wall Street Journal, Ian sent it to me. Really interesting title. It says, "Why is autism exploding? Welfare fraud is one reason." If you think about it, it's kind of hard to prove autism. So I could totally see people just claiming it for welfare fraud.
So they're allowing autism to be a disorder, and maybe in some people it is, and so people.
Now you're disabled, so now you get more money for your disabled kid.
Interesting.
Oh, it absolutely is for some people. Like,
I'm a single mom of a disabled kid,
exactly,
and I deserve.
And really, he just has behavioral problems.
Yeah.
If you think about it, like, I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying, oh, autism isn't a problem and single moms with a autistic child don't have. No, it literally can be. I'm just saying that because it's such a wide umbrella term, there can definitely be people that.
I want nothing bad to happen to my child. I'm going to get on welfare.
Yeah, they fraud the system.
Yeah, allow a government to take care of you. Nothing bad's going to happen to your child when the government takes care of you, except it will.
My son's nonverbal. Well, did you teach him how to talk? No, I just gave him an iPad, and now he's autistic.
Do you ever talk to him? Yeah. So, it says Minnesota's example shows that lucrative behavioral therapy is a magnet for scam artists. Diagnosis rates of autism among children have more than tripled over the past 15 years. One reason which Minnesota's welfare scandal, I hadn't heard of this. So.
Oh, you haven't heard about what happened in Minnesota?
No.
They found out that the Somalian immigrant community has defrauded the U.S. government of something like $8 billion.
Wow. Sorry, I did hear that, but not that
Through
number.
lying on their welfare. Yeah, something like $8 billion. And it's just this one like small, like you can draw it on a map, like a circle in Minnesota that has extracted $8 billion out of the government.
Holy crap.
Of your money. They've stolen they're pirates. They literally pirated your money in a long roundabout way.
Yeah. It says, so now that we know what they're talking about here, a very important context. It says diagnosis rates of autism among children have more than tripled over the past 15 years. One reason which Minnesota's welfare scandal lays bare with shocking details is Medicaid fraud and abuse. Gypsy Rose style. Medicaid pays healthcare providers big bucks to diagnose and treat children with autism, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars a month for a single child. Yet states rarely verify that kids who are diagnosed actually meet the medical criteria for the disorder or that they get appropriate treatment from qualified specialists. The result? Children covered by Medicaid or the government-run Children's Health Insurance Program are 2.5 times as likely as those with private coverage to be diagnosed with autism. Many lower-income kids are labeled autistic merely because they have behavioral or developmental problems. If you're eating bad food when you're pregnant, you're more likely to have a child with behavioral or developmental problems. And also if you're not paying attention to your kids.
Because you're not at home, you're not there to raise your kid. And then you go, why ain't the government doing... Why my kid act funny? It's not my fault. It can never be my fault.
Yeah.
You parent not being a parent.
Mm-hmm.
So of course they're gonna look to some outside problem. Like it can't be me as a parent. I love my kid, so he's got to be mentally deficient. Yeah. My kid has to be broken because of my inability to parent.
And just the fact that they have like opened up the word mental health problems to so many things. It's like people think they have anxiety, like a disorder just because when something stressful happens to them, they're stressed. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like before, people didn't say they had anxiety, but yes, they felt bad feelings when they were stressed, just like you in the 80s. Do you see what I'm saying?
They just felt stressed.
Yeah. They just didn't call it a disorder. Like, of course, it's like, if you just constantly have this, like...
Or stage fright. They used to call it stage fright.
Well,
like when you were a little kid, and you would get anxious about going up in front of a group of people. See here, I just did it. I said felt anxious. That's stage fright. You used to you were shy.
But as a
you
kid,
had stage fright. It wasn't a disorder. It was just something you had to overcome as a kid.
As a kid, you had to overcome the stage fright and do scary things so you could face the world and stand up straight with your shoulders back. And now I'm channeling my inner Jordan Peterson. Sorry.
It's like when you get up to the top of the tall diving board when you're a little kid and you look down and then suddenly you get super scared and you want to climb back down the ladder, but there's a line of kids behind you waiting for you to jump off.
Yeah, but
you don't have an anxiety disorder. You don't have a disorder. You just have to jump off, right? You have to get over it.
You just have to jump off. There's no other way to do it but jump.
Well, maybe you do turn around. The point is that is a normal human experience. It doesn't mean
you have
disordered.
a disorder. Yeah, there's a problem.
Yeah. So people, it's not that it's like, oh, no one knows what no one knows what anxiety is, except Ian. He claims that he doesn't know what it means. He doesn't know what anxious feelings are. But anyways, he's just like, I don't understand these kids that say they have anxiety. What does that even mean? And he's like fascinated when you try to tell him.
It's an inability to cope is what it is. It's that they lack coping mechanisms.
I understand anxiety, but at the same time, I moved clear across the country by myself. And that's the best way to overcome anxiety is go face situations where it's just you facing them.
Yeah, but it's because you have to develop coping mechanisms or you die. And these kids have never been forced to develop proper coping mechanisms. So maybe it's a disorder in the sense that they're disordered because they don't have coping mechanisms.
And
right?
it's not because, I was born with this inability to get coping mechanisms. It's because you were sheltered, for one thing. And that doesn't mean, your mom didn't let you watch Harry Potter every time. That can mean something more like every time you did something wrong, your parents told you it wasn't your fault.
Yeah.
Or never had to face consequences.
Or your parents just didn't care. They just weren't around, right? Because that could be an issue
lead
too.
You.
Yeah, like your parents failed you, and that's totally fair. But at some point, right, when you're an adult, it's not your parents' fault anymore. You are the way you are. You have to be able to recognize that maybe they didn't give you all the tools, so you got to develop the tools and move on with your life. You can't keep pointing at mommy and daddy saying, I am this way because of this.
You can't play the victim all the time. Eventually you have to go stand up and start moving somewhere.
Well, even if you are like quote unquote autistic, you can't blame the world, right?
No.
What did autistic people do before this, right? Like they just got regular jobs and became accountants and like lived their lives and figured it out.
How to make it work, and we got to figure out how to make it work, and it's really hard.
Let's just say there is a difference though between autistic and it's like you have just like some social skill problems and you can have a job, and the type of autistic where you're like smearing poop on the wall and you cannot talk. Like I don't want to make...
That's different than somebody who's obsessed with trains.
Exactly, and my point is more like, why did we get rid of the word Asperger's? They got rid of the word Asperger's because they wanted exactly this to happen. They wanted to make it like you can just claim to be literally disabled when you have, like something that doesn't actually affect your ability to like make money and live in the world.
Well, and that just helps with the infantilization of everybody.
Yep.
Right? They want to keep everybody. I think they want to keep everybody mentally between the ages of 13 and 16. And that's where they want you emotionally and like mentally. That's where they kind of want to stick you, because in that high school mindset that right, like whatever my teacher tells me is the correct thing. No, I don't want any responsibility. No, nothing's ever my fault. It's the world that's against me. I feel like that's kind of when I go out and about and like the jobs I've had, it feels like a lot of the adults are kind of stuck in like high school, right? We're still doing like high school things. Like who's dating who? Did you see this? There's always drama. I don't like so-and-so because of how they dress. Like, what are we doing, man? I'm just here to work. But people have to, I don't know. I just see it as they want to keep us children as long as possible.
This is another thing that makes me feel like there's a big reason why they want you to feel like be a child for as long as possible. It's like you feel like, well, the adults have figuring things out handled. I don't have to do that. I just have to like have fun. Like the adults, like when you can ask somebody like
an adult or adult.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, yeah.
When you can't get an answer from anybody about like, well, why do we need the government to pay for police when people could just pay for the services that they needed if they weren't being taxed to death? And they cannot answer the question. They don't have the imagination to imagine what the world would be like different because they're not in the business of handling problems at all in their home, in their life. They have someone else do that for them at all times. And they think that's winning. You know what I mean? Like being on welfare and not having to do as much work with your brain and body.
Yeah, where else can you get Chinese food, chopped cheese, and Remy Martin on the same block?
It's also really easy to get grocery delivery too.
Yep.
Yeah, well, now that they do Instacart with your food stamps, I'm pretty sure that they're starting to do that, where you can use your food stamp money to get deliveries. I think you can't through Walmart.
And they just make
Walmart does free delivery for food stamp people. On their Walmart app. So now you don't even have to leave your house. You don't even have to take your 18 kids to the store to get your food. You can just have it.
I love going to the grocery store though.
No, I don't. I hate it. I can't stand I can't stand grocery stores. I don't like being around all the people.
Here's where I'm at with grocery
stresses
stores.
me
I
out.
don't like to go grocery shopping by myself all the time, but it's also been really helpful to go grocery shopping by myself, so I get to explore the store and get to know what's in there, so I know what my options are. I like to know what my options are.
That's true. Well, your supposed options is really all owned by the same four.
That's true.
Giant, huge ag companies like we were talking about at the beginning of the episode. So, it feels more of like an illusion of choice.
Well, we do have a co-op here in Keene.
Well, yeah, we do.
It's a little better.
But I mean, for most people, they don't have access to a co-op. Or as some people would call it, the hippie food store.
Yeah. Local food, and we also have
there's a lot of farm stands around if you look for them.
We also have a farmer's market, but I forgot about it the entire season again. I did that last year.
Yeah, now it's cold and gross out and nobody's...
Yeah, I don't think that they have it.
No.
Yeah, during this season. So I just forgot about it 2 years in a row. Like literally every Saturday, I did not wake up thinking about it for 2 years in a row, even though I wanted to go.
No. Well, what I was saying is it's an illusion of options, Riley, right? It's an illusion of options but the veil can be really, you look through it and it's just a bunch of hyper regulation that's propped up these monopolies that are in bed with government. Like the government allowed these monopolies to happen. They didn't stop them. They supported them and have taken their money and continue to do so, right? We say government helps prevent monopoly, but they've done the exact opposite.
Yeah,
they've supported
it's become monopoly.
Yeah, through their regulations.
Yeah, just to get back to my grocery store example, I like going grocery shopping by myself because I like to be able to pick up the items by myself and know exactly what I'm getting. So when I come home and I forget something, it's on me. It's not the grocery store delivery person's problem. I like to do that independently. I've been learning how to do it independently. And so it's been a good experience for me to challenge myself to grow that way.
Yeah, I've noticed that I've ordered I've never done it, but my girlfriends that I've been with have done it before, and the produce that you get when you order online for that, they usually pick the worst looking produce for you because you're getting.
I imagine they do.
You're renting a poor to bring you your food, so they're gonna grab the ugliest apple because they don't care. They just need to grab an apple and get out the store so they can get you your stuff faster.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I did Uber Eats. I never did the grocery store ones. I think I signed up and never got approved for one of them. I don't remember what it was called, Postmark or something. No, I did Postmates. I did Postmates, but
it's probably Instacart.
Yeah, Instacart. There we go. There was just tons of people doing that when I signed up or whatever.
It was huge money. It was like $120 per order type stuff for Instacart because you get paid for the whole time you're shopping for that person.
Yeah, but I can totally imagine it's they don't the amount you get paid when you're just walking around isn't enough to be worth it. You have to just get it done so you can get the payment that the app is going to give you and then your tip. That's what's important. So I can imagine it's not that they're just haha, man, I want to hurt this person's
Or some of
feelings.
them
They're
do.
just
They go
being
like, "This
fast.
ain't enough of a tip. I'm gonna grab a worse piece of produce for you because I
Yeah,
don't
I
think
guess
you're
if it's-
paying me enough."
If it's a pre-tip situation, yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, I don't know. There are always bad people out there, but I think the most common answer would be that, like, they're not going to sit there and, first of all, they don't know your opinions. Maybe they grab an apple that looks good to them and it's bad to you. You know what I mean?
Well, it's also I like the DoorDash people who, like the awful DoorDash drivers who like mess with people's food for not giving them enough of a tip.
Why
like
do they
that's
have
horrible.
it set to where you tip beforehand? It never was that way when I did Uber Eats. It was always just like you got your tip hours later.
Really? Yeah, no,
But
they
that was
do.
years ago now.
You tip up front and then it tells you how much you're getting per order. And
No, I saw it the other day because for the first time since I lived in New Hampshire, I ordered Uber Eats because the power went out. It was that day that the power went out. And my car was in the shop and I needed coffee. Like, we had a generator, but apparently our stove is not on the generator and I boil water for coffee. So
Yeah.
cannot happen. So I ordered Starbucks and got the sugar cookie. Oh my God, that was so good. Sorry. I just, tangent there. But it was so good. But anyways, I noticed it asked me what tip I wanted to give and I was like, he hasn't brought it to me yet. Luckily, he was awesome. So
yeah, if you're really awful, like I saw a video the other night of some lady pepper spraying the food after she dropped it off. Like a Ring camera caught it, like that was in the bushes.
Ew.
And it was some lady dropped it off and then sprayed pepper spray all over the food and then walked away.
Wow, I hope she
No, they got caught and she got fired.
Yeah,
but,
definitely fired.
You're having some random stranger
Never allowed
that
to
if
do
you
it
don't
again,
give
and then
them, you don't know, maybe $5 isn't enough for this guy
Maybe
to
that
bring your
puts them
Taco
into
Bell for $3.
anaphylactic shock. you know?
Yeah. You're hiring a stranger to bring you your food.
Yeah.
You're running
You really
the risk.
are, and I always try and do what Bonnie does and be generous with my tipping because I know I'm hiring them for a job.
And the other thing is, like, that is what, if you're talking about my tweet the other day, I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but the other day, that's what inspired me to write my tweet that was about people who bring you your food do a whole lot more than waitresses or
they
waiters.
do.
I have
Absolutely
been
they do.
both. So why do you tip people less to drive your food to your house? Sometimes they place the order and wait for it too. Depends on the app. Sometimes they place the order, sometimes they place the order and wait for it, and they cannot help like things that go wrong a lot of times. Like a lot of times you get the food in a taped up bag and somebody doesn't give you a tip because there was something missing out of it, but that was the restaurant's fault.
Since COVID, it had to be taped up in order for the business to function.
Honestly, they should be taped up because the idea that somebody could just be driving down the street and eating your french fries is disgusting.
Yeah, it's kind of disgusting.
More Free Talk Live tomorrow. More Free Talk Live at freetalklive.com. Thank you for listening. Peace.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 13th through the 16th for the 8th annual Fork Fest at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. Fork Fest is a fork of the Porcupine Freedom Festival, which has sold out in recent years. Fork Fest happens the weekend before the Porcupine Freedom Festival. Fork Fest is decentralized, which means that there's no ticket cost and no one is in charge. All you have to do to join the fun is reserve your camping site, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 13th through the 16th. You can find out more at the unofficial website, forkfest.party. You can also connect with other attendees on the Forkfest Telegram and Matrix chat rooms, as well as the Forkfest forum. You can find links to those at forkfest.party. We hope to see you there June 13th through the 16th. Forkfest.party.
Eleutheromania, the insatiable desire for freedom. It's the new 3-song heavy metal EP from Captain Kickass. Available now on your favorite music app or get it directly from CaptainKickass.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com.